the Planning Commission session today, June 23rd, 2026 at 5:30. When Roland walks in, we will hopefully defer to him. First item of business is approval of agenda. Do I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I'll approve it.
And do I have a second?
I will second it.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next, I have a declaration of a conflict of interest. If anyone has anything to declare, please do so.
I guess we all have a conflict considering we're voting on planning commission code.
It's like the senators voting on the
I
Senate.
mean, it's not really
Okay.
a conflict financially.
Unfortunately, we're not financially paid for it, so.
Okay, and so seeing none, we will go to number 3, the approval of minutes, May 26th, 2026. Hopefully everyone's read them.
Pretty quick.
And if I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 26th, 2026.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of May 26, 2026.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and on to number 4, the public meeting and public hearings. We're going to hear presentations by Jeremy Lance to begin with.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. So item 4A is the Buchanan Estates rezone. That is application 26.015. The applicant is Tyler Barr, who is in the audience tonight, Madam Vice Chair, and who is here on behalf of the property owner Stag Investments LLC. The location of the project is approximately at the terminus of North 1650 West. The date of the application is May 15, 2026, identified by the parcel number in the staff report of the meeting tonight. The current zoning is a split designation of RM16, which is a multiple residential zone, and the R110 zone, which is a low density or high density single family zone. And then the current general plan designation from the 2023 integrated land use plan future land use map is single family residential for this area. The acreage is 36.29 acres. And the request for tonight, Madam Vice Chair, is to request or to amend the existing R110 and RM16 split zone designation on an approximately 36.29 acre parcel by extending the boundary of the approximately 3.57 acre RM16 portion of the property to the parcel's northern boundary, and by amending the remainder of the property from R110 to RM8. Staff has reviewed this request against the land use code adopted by Tremont City and by the future land use map from the aforementioned 2023 general plan. Intersections of both of those documents are found in the staff report. If the commission finds any merit in this rezone, then the following findings could be considered. 1, that the proposed amendment supports future residential development of the property. 2, that the proposed amendment is compatible with adjacent residential zoning and development. 3, that the proposed amendment promotes logical and orderly residential growth. And 4, that the subject property is suitable for future development and has access to the existing street network. Otherwise, staff will wrap up the presentation and defer to the Planning Commission for any questions you may have. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Have we had any different discussion about this property? I feel like we've discussed it a couple times. Are there any concerns that we're having right now?
What does the RM8 zone allow?
RM8 is 8 units to the acre.
So like, how big is that property?
36.29.
Okay, oh no, I meant like per acre. Like how much?
How many units?
Well, I was trying to think of like my house is on .3.
How many-
or something like that.
How many units will this increase from the current zoning?
That's a good question.
I don't know if I can speak or not.
Yeah.
Why
Why don't you come and take a chair?
Madam Chair, we can defer to the applicant on that.
Oh, no, it's way
Okay,
more than
thank you.
double if we're going to RM16, because it's
Well,
our,
RM16 is small.
Right, so it's kind of a mixed idea, right?
oh, I never saw the map.
Taylor, would you like to explain?
Yeah, maybe you can explain better on the map, how much is the RM 16?
How many acres?
And how much on the map is RM?
Yes.
The next map,
Just
there's
sort
one.
of concept.
There we go.
There we go.
That shows.
Yeah, so right now, we have a section of RM16, and that,
Sorry, Sam, that was my.
that frontage road is that road right there is gonna go all the way and connect to 1000 North.
Okay.
And we're working with the Price Group, the landowners to the north that are about ready to get going to.
I guess I gotta show you guys over here.
So that road's gonna go all the way through. We're asking
this is gonna go all the way
to continue
through.
that RM16 where it's
This right
already
here?
has some
All the way
zoning.
up to
And
here.
that's how many acres then? 3 point what?
So, 3.57
Okay.
square.
Yeah, RM16. And then everything to
Oh,
the east
hi.
of the road, which right now is RM10, we're asking for RM8. Not sure if you've seen our concept or not, but our main goal here is to make a diverse community, something that's not 300 doors of the exact same thing. So our plan, or at least our desire or whatever, is to have apartments, again, along I-15 on the west side of the road. And then everything on the east is gonna be diverse. So there's gonna be townhomes, there's gonna be duplexes, there's gonna be single-family homes. And the whole idea is to hit a community that can hit multiple different markets. Instead of one price point, it'll be a little bit of everything through there.
And this concept, how many residents?
Right now, I think if you do the total, it's about 500 doors. So it's very rough until we kind of figure out what we can go. But if you add what the apartments will bring plus all the single family housing, it'll be about 500 total.
The questions about units do tend to come up at the rezone stage, but the better time for that question is when
I
you
just
start
wanna
looking
be
at preliminary plat, you start getting into the ground, you subtract out for improvements and all that.
I get all that. But you had a rough
General.
idea. Yeah. That's what, 500 is what I hear. Understand roads and sidewalk, I get all that.
And there'll be, as of our rough concept right now, everything on the east side of the road. I mean, we're planning on putting in a park and pickleball courts and all that type of stuff. If the city wants to take care of that, great. If not, it'll have an HOA. And then the apartments that'll be on the west side of that road, it'll also have its own, it'll have a swimming pool, park, pickleball courts that HOA will take care of.
For just the apartments?
Yeah, the HOA will take care of its own private deal. We still need to talk to the city if everything on the east side, is that want to be something the city wants to acquire, or is it going to be its own private deal too?
May I say? The idea with the applicant, we've discussed with the applicant, he can accomplish his goals with the strict zoning of these two different types of zones, and then anything that would deviate from the zones, like the HOA or the parks that the city maintain, would come back in the form of a development agreement. So those details would come back. So right now, our applicant is asking to change the zoning so that he can have the flexibility to make those improvements on these parcels.
But I guess is the development agreement also coming with it, or we're just giving them?
We're just
extra
doing the
zone?
zoning at this point, and then once the zoning proposal is made, then we will move forward to a development agreement. We did not bring that forward.
Which is a feature of the plat process, so if you come around a preliminary final plat.
Right, I understand, but the vision here is like the PUD ordinance and like we did with other overlays, the vision is, maybe we want to give them some density, but we want to contractually require the parks, the amenities, the things, whatever he's proposing.
Yeah.
If we just rezone it with no development agreement, then there's no
agreement.
Yeah, there's nothing to require him, which is,
That is on my board in my room right now. And we did not have the development agreement required at this time for that. And it's not required of the applicant to do for the rezone too, so.
But are we required to
Approve it.
approve it?
No,
No, this is up to you.
but I think one thing that what Micah is saying is going back to what we've kind of been discussing with the PUDs and that sort of thing is, if we change the zoning, then we technically don't have any
Bargaining tools.
then he's within
Yep.
the rights of that zoning, whatever that may be. So,
Yeah, this is the argument I brought up last time, of like, once we rezone it, then he can do whatever he wants. I know he's not going to, right? But if we,
but by law, there's no reason he could.
Exactly. which is why I wanted a new, something in place beforehand, but
Didn't we say though that the PUD was also going to be applicable for all applicants who had already applied?
Yeah, but that's not this is just a standard rezon.
So this is technically still falling under the prior rules of the PUD, correct?
Yeah, he could, yes.
I know that you guys probably aren't up to date with our concept, but I'm pretty sure with the zoning we're asking for, we won't need to
Use the
a
PUD,
at
yeah.
all.
that, and we understand that. It's just more of the administrative side of it, of like
The agreement.
the agreement. If we're approving this, do we have any leverage coming back on us? Or are we just approving this and whatever the person who owns the zone does can do?
Well, and I guess the whole vision was, if we allow density and we try to allow multiple uses, the vision was trying to increase the quality of living by getting the parks and the trails and all the things that we were hoping, making the units look nicer, which was the whole vision of the PUD originally, that we quantified that in a fair way.
And just nicer but consistent, like continue, like.
Yeah, it's the only legal way where we can kind of encourage them to do these things that we otherwise can't afford to do as a city, which is centered with the park discussion today.
So Jeremy, how are you gonna get us there? With what your current regulations, how are we gonna do, how do we know we're gonna get there? Pickleball courts and trails and all this density,
That comes that comes with the development agreement.
and who approves that?
You guys.
We do.
So we will see that.
But at that
But
point,
there's
it's
also
too
no
late
guarantee
for us.
that it has to be that way. That's what we're saying with the
Yeah.
the rezone, all the law, all the rules
Yeah.
as long as the rules of the zone are followed, there is no agreement even necessary.
Well, the other question I have before we, I guess, finish that out, so the max units I can come up with on 36, whatever acres, if you had 3.56 of RM16, 32 of RM8, max units is 318. So I don't know how you get to a 500 on that amount, I guess is what I'm getting at, because, this is not taking into account any roads or nothing, this is max density.
Like I said, we haven't got that far. And so to me, to have a development agreement at this time, development agreement has to be pretty dialed in unless we want to just keep on amending it and changing it. So for us to really dial all that stuff in, like I gotta know what zoning we're tackling
But
first.
you know what zoning you're asking for.
Yeah, I know it's zoning I'm asking
So you
for.
therefore you should have kind of in your back of your mind what you're gonna get out of it.
Yeah, we do, but nothing's set in stone before I start paying engineers to
I get that.
all that stuff. I gotta have my zoning set in stone before I can keep investing and go to the next steps. I mean, I'm not a professional developer, like, I've done this a few times, but the times I have, the development agreement comes our next steps, and that's when we can get really dialed in. But obviously, you guys can do whatever you want, but.
I think, at least my main concern is that we as the planning commission have been blamed for zoning changes that have happened. And so my main concern is making sure that we as a planning commission are not responsible if something were to change, that it wasn't come back on us of, oh, well, the planning commission approved it.
So you
Or
protect yourself
recommended
with,
it.
you protect yourself with good findings. The question really at hand is this a place where RM8 and RM16 should go? That, I don't really think there should be any other questions considered at this time. And so amongst the commission, if you discuss, well, RM8 should go somewhere else, or I wouldn't strong arm the applicant into changing their request or anything like that, but that should be the question at hand.
We're not asking to change the request, we just want to know what it is, what the request is.
correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys will still have the opportunity to give your input and approve my development agreement. So once we get to that stage, you guys can dial it in and be like, hey, where's this? Well, we're not gonna approve this or pass it unless that's in there.
But
I
then,
think
you
that's
can-
when we.
my understanding is, then you can fall back and just do what the zoning is then, that new zoning, just build what the zoning is.
Which is
Just build the
RM, you're asking for RM.
Eight
And
and
16
eight.
and 8.
And
16 is already there, the 16 mirrors the pink, and then the RM8 would just be the difference.
Well, let's clarify that. You're saying it's already zoned RM16?
Just that-
Or
Just that little-
you're just
that
saying
corner.
it's connecting, we're extending it?
You're
To the northern
to the
boundary.
northern
So
boundary.
we're extending RM16 throughout that entire,
Oh,
No, just that little bit.
Just
That
the
little-
section where it's
that little-
red.
that is RM16.
No, that's RM16 now.
And you
What
want
we're
it,
asking for is that RM16
Oh.
continues.
All the way up to the
To
Yeah.
the
top there.
northern boundary.
So this is not accurate then, because this says that we're just changing all of it to RM8.
No.
That,
Well, that's why I was confused, because I thought that
Yeah.
that would get you to your 500 units if you changed it all to
Yeah,
RM16.
so RM16 that's already in the, what's zoned.
That's
now.
already zoned right now.
Yeah, what we're asking is that it continues along I-15, all the way to the northern boundary. And then this road is gonna continue all the way through, so this side will be RM16, this side's RM.
Yeah, they
Go
can't
down to the
see.
other
so
street,
that's
they see
two
which
separate
Oh.
zones, like we're making two
You can't
separate
see my
changes.
I see.
Yeah,
So
it's
shouldn't
called
it be
the
two
16.
separate?
It's a split zone, and since the parcel's already split zone, we're just extending the split zone boundary.
Okay. That makes more sense.
That makes,
Just to set clear expectations, it wouldn't be a good idea to create split zoning, but since it's already present, they're just amending it. Split zoning is a headache for this exact reason.
so how much of the acreage of that 36 acreage will be RM16?
Here, I'll show you. Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to be like amount, I understand, like, I get that.
We get
part. Yeah, I'm just saying like,
I think
how
it's-
much of that acreage will be RM16?
Of the line, you mean?
Like, yeah,
Like-
what is?
The whole
Like
yellow-
this will be a line right here, all of this would be RM16
Yeah,
right
how
here.
many acres is that?
Okay, Jeremy has that in the staff report.
Well, with those numbers.
That's what I
we
couldn't
don't.
find.
But that's what we don't know, the exact acreage he's talking about.
I have it, it's on the map I submitted to your portal. Give me one second.
We didn't get the portal map.
So there's another piece that always seems relevant, and that's when property changes ownership. Not to say that that's in the plans, but in the potential scenario that happens where we change the zoning and then the property is sold, we are no longer talking about the same animal.
Well, it doesn't even matter if he sells it or not. I mean, this was the whole premise of the PUD, was to make a fair, same line, so everyone has the same rules and the same everything. But, like River's Edge, they said, hey, we want to do more density, and the city council and everybody said, fine, if you'll do this and this, and put in parks and secondary water and the trails and the Boweries and all this stuff. And that was, I guess, the premise of the PUD, but without that or the overlay zone or some development agreement, there's no essential mechanism to require anything beyond the rezone.
I have those acreage
Yeah, how much?
amounts for you. So it would be a total of 13.159 acres of RM16 and 22.907 acres of RM8.
And what's the total units that you had on there?
It was roughly 500.
I don't think so.
So I guess that's where our concern comes in, is that if we rezone this, right, and it becomes RM16, and then you sold the property or something later, deciding not to build on it, then that is now zoned at RM16, and there's no agreement saying that,
Well, you would still have to do a development agreement
With
Yes.
the next person.
the next person.
but it would already be zoned at RM16, so whoever owns that property down the line, they could build however much they want in that
Max
RM16.
capacity without any city setting.
So then we would be blamed for that, if that makes sense. So that's just what we're trying to understand. I know this so sucks for you to feel like you're in the middle of this, but we just want to make sure that
Oh,
we're
I'm in the middle of it.
covered. I know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
We just want to make sure that it's
I paint,
solid.
I explained kind of my vision, why I'm asking for these things. I mean, my opinion, if there's a place for apartments along I-15 is a great place for them. The rest of the community, I think for being in the inner core of Tremont, I mean, you have industrial that's going into the north with the Price Group, golf course to the east. I mean, I think it's a good place for this type of community. Off the main street, there's going to be freeway entrances directly to the north, to the south. But to what Jeremy said, I mean, I think the main question is, do you see if this is a place for RM16 and RM8 to go?
So.
I mean, I'm not too concerned. I know you guys are concerned about development agreements, but I know we're gonna work through that through this whole process, and I'll be able to say, yes, there's 2 pickleball courts and this and that, and we can get real specific on every detail. But right now, before I keep on investing in all those drawings and engineering, I gotta have my zoning kind of dialed in. I mean, I'm gonna do what you guys say, but that's kind of how I see it.
Can I speak to it? With the applicant, as he came in, we discussed the PUD overlay tool with him, and he felt as an applicant that he could accomplish his purpose with sticking with the strict zoning, and that was his choice. And he's come to our NPI, he's talked with the residents, and he's done his due diligence to try to make sure that this fits the character of what they want. There are the same concerns you have. We share the same concerns too. So it's up to you guys to decide whether or not to move forward, because the PUD overlay did add a bunch of additional costs to the developer to provide all those concept plans and all those engineered products to bring forth. He decided to go through the strict zoning route instead of the PUD overlay process.
Which, I mean, even if, I don't know, the PUD overlay is great, but I mean, if I use the PUD overlay to this, I mean, I could probably get more doors than what I'm asking for. I mean, Christina's seen my concept, I've walked it through her. I mean,
Well, it's irrelevant, we repealed it, so it's an irrelevant conversation. But I figured your max density would be 393 based on what you just explained.
Okay.
So I don't think you get to the 5, and that's not with any park space or anything cut out of
okay,
it.
that's fine. That's irrelevant to me now. Like, I don't care. I mean, I'm gonna end up putting on whatever's on there with what I get. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm stuck at 500 or whatever. You know?
Micah, for that 13 acres, the RM16, how much is that?
210.
I'd like to make a correction real fast too. This is an applicant that has a current application with the city. The PUD overlay is not irrelevant to him. He's still grandfathered in that. So if that is something, a tool he does want to use, he has a current application
Based on
in.
the June 9th date.
Did he apply for the PUD? Or
He applied for his development. And so anybody that's applied, it's a zoning change. It's treated as a zoning change.
Okay.
And so.
He's grandfathered in.
So
you're
he's
saying?
grandfathered in,
Okay.
yes. Just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, yeah, I thought he didn't apply for the PUD.
Yeah, as long as they apply for a legislative zoning change, if they need to change the mechanism, it's not the applicant's fault if they need to change the mechanism and how they get the legislative approval. So that was something that I tried to communicate, that anybody with an application in for a legislative change would still be grandfathered in.
Well, if that's the case, then you should change it to a PUD. If it was me.
So as the planning commission, are we going to be, again, in trouble isn't the right word, but I've heard from multiple people that they do not want more high density housing in Tremont. Are we going to be to blame if we do zone this to RM16?
I don't think you have to worry about it. One, you're right next to the freeway, and it's the best use scenario for that if you're not going industrial or, retail, something. I would say your high density housing is going to be more digestible right up next to the freeway, because nobody wants to they don't want a 5-acre parcel with a house on the freeway.
What are you talking about? That's Century Drive.
Southside freeway.
They're not 5 acres. That's what it
South
says.
Independent.
But
Are we okay with asking for vote, and would you like to take over the chair?
You have a public hearing.
Oh, public hearing, yeah. You can take over as chair. How about that? So we're at,
So that was the staff presentation and commission discussion. I'd accept a motion to close? Is that what we're doing?
We haven't opened it yet.
Oh, we haven't
Public
opened
hearing.
Close the public meeting, open.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I will accept a motion to close the public meeting and open the public hearing.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I
Second.
And seconded that we close the meeting, the meeting and open the public hearing for the Buchanan Estates rezone, parcel 05-173-0044. So,
I'll make a motion. Do we have to? No.
You have
oh,
to let
and
people-
all in favor say yes.
Yes.
That motion passes. Okay. So the public hearing is now open. All those who would like to comment or give their public voice to this topic are welcome to. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name. Suzanne. Address this.
Happy to do that.
My name is Lane Wilding. I don't live in this area, but I do have a question. I talked to a couple of residents that live along that street because we were setting up the MPIs and asked how they felt about having apartments and high density behind their homes. And they did not seem real excited about that. As far as close to the freeway, they didn't have a problem with that at all. So my question is, did you guys send out a letter to these residents and are they aware of what's going on? Is that not part of the requirements, is that we have to have a,
They don't have to answer. It's just simply
Okay.
addressing them. So
I'll ask the question, but was the letter sent out to the residents? Did we follow our process?
I'll answer that because
Please.
I handwritten them.
Okay,
So yes.
All right, thank you.
Within 300 feet.
yes, thank you. I just want to be sure that we're following our process because we're kind of blind to it as the public. And we should be able to ask that question and we should be able to answer yes or no. That we follow the process. Like I said, I want to be sure that the residents had an opportunity to voice their opinion. I talked to 2 people along that street relative to the MPI and being involved with the MPIs for the Central District, and they were not excited about having the high density behind it. So, thank you.
thank you. Any other comments in the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing and open the consideration and decision.
Council Chair, can I answer the question from the public comment?
Sure.
2 letters have been sent to the residents within 300 feet of that. And this is the second public hearing we've had on this rezone.
We'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, it's been moved that we close the public hearing and
I will say that.
open the consideration and decision, and it's been seconded. Those in favor say yes.
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 Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Consideration and decision. So knowing what we know about the applicant's opportunity, he was able to use the PUD overlay if he so chose. He chose not to do that. What are the sentiments? What are the thoughts? And
Personally, I feel good about where this density is.
I agree. I mean, it's in the plan, the land use plan. That was the vision in the future. If we keep changing the vision in the future, what would we have? I mean, we should get a plan and stick with it, in my opinion.
you're saying changing it is in the future plan, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying what is zoned currently is in the future plan. This changes what the land use plan is. I mean, he mentioned that in his comment.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I'm just affirming that, yeah, this changes,
It goes
Land
along
use
with
plan.
what we applied.
it changes what the city had planned. My name's not on it, Mike's is.
Well, and it was just what they recommended, because
I
at
get
that time, that's when River's Edge hit, and it was anti.
I get it. I
wasn't-
mean,
wasn't
it's a
popular.
big plan, it's got a lot of information in it, I get it, but I mean, that is our plan.
No, I agree.
Okay,
I think it's a good location for it, but I also think that we're gonna put in that kind of density, just like the PUD vision was, is we need help with parks and the amenities that the city can afford to do. I mean, we haven't even put in a park in 25 years, really. We've been buying dirt, which is good,
Trail.
but I just think you know, it's capable of increasing that level of service, you know, if we're going to give that much density difference. You know what I mean? Which I think that's what he's talking about doing anyway.
The idea is.
I think what we're seeing is that this one is a little bit on hope, and hopefully that won't be how it will be in the future. It might be for this meeting currently. And once we get a little bit better legislation about what we're doing with PUDs, then, but for this event, I think we need to treat this as its own event and move forward, in my view.
Yeah, I say if it doesn't pass, then you should definitely apply for the PUD.
But he
Can I
won't be
make-
able to, right?
He will.
If this is denied though,
No, it's just rezoning.
It doesn't matter because he still has already put it in his application.
Am I confused? I mean, that's.
well, I don't know, that's what, I'm not sure. In a normal world, it's like normally you apply and you have like a specific site plan and you have everything like defined and designed. You're not typically vested at a rezone, at least in my world. So I don't know, I guess, what they actually applied for and what they're really vested in. Does that make sense? Like what is he
That's
vested
because
in?
the question is, does it fit in the character of this zone? I would argue that a general plan, or rather a future land use map that doesn't show any growth, any possibility of growth, probably needs to be looked at. So, you know, we have funds we've applied, or we've received a grant from UDOT to look at a new general plan. So yeah, you would have possible, or a couple of possible options for what the community would like to see it go to. And again, this being near the center of the city, or at least near the main street of it, the argument could be made that it's establishing a buffer. And so again, just the question really should be limited in scope. I've said that a few times.
Can I address the chair? Something that could be brought forth in your findings if you want is an approval on condition of a development agreement presented at the same time to the city council to solidify the density that you want. Because that is something that you could couple them together. Micah's question on what is he actually applying for? The application was for a zone change. That's it. That's all the application was for. That's why that's what we brought forth was an application for a zone change to set the entitlements so that we're not wasting a lot of the city's time reviewing engineered plans before entitlements are set. And then also his time putting into all of the engineering that are required when you have all of the concept plans put together. So the application before you is just for a zone change. There's lots of different things you can do. You can actually, if you can deny it, you can, and he gave you suggestions on the staff report, but a thought that I did have, but as I've been thinking about this is what if we did couple the development agreement with it to protect the city from if that you wanted buffer or single family houses right up to because his concept plan does show single family housing buffer as it gets into multifamily housing up closer towards 1000 North, towards the industrial zone. So that's kind of my comments, and thanks for your time. I don't know how to end it.
I think that makes the most sense, which is, I mean, the same thing as what the PUD was, right? We would grant the approval at the same time.
I think our vision for it is the same.
Yeah.
I think there was something in the background that they were dealing with the other PUD that was making it messy. And for both the administration
It was
and
costly upfront. There was a lot of cost
I
upfront.
think going forward, put in a little note on your notepad, this was the vision that we're talking about. We're not trying to make it more expensive. We're not trying to make it a strong arm thing per se. It's a flexibility tool. And for this particular scenario, if you were to come into the office and you were to say, hey, I would like a zone change, our assumption was if he had applied for the PUD, then he would have done this process already without having to come to us to couple those two agreements together.
Yes.
Does that make sense? So that's how the visions that we're discussing and I think where we're trying to go with this one are married.
Okay.
So if we can draw something up in the future for that particular mechanism, I think we would be very well served, both the developer and all of us.
You don't have a lot of split zoning around the city, Mr. Chair. This is a very peculiar request, so.
But does that make sense?
I think even without the split zoning though, like,
Anytime they want to rezone, anytime they come
If the
to us with
developer
a
is coming to the
rezone, regardless
rezone.
of split or not, that is a tool for them to be like, oh. So if I come to the table to them with this idea that they've already laid out, I am 95% positive it's gonna happen. Which is a high percentage, right? Like, you don't know if you're even going to get it, period, when you, otherwise, right? Before you come to this hearing and meeting, you're like, I sure hope I get what I need.
Well, and that's where your land use plan should come into play.
Should,
Yeah.
but in the past, it's also not been the anchor that we wanted it to be.
Okay.
But if we can build that into the land use portion, it makes it all cohesive in my mind, is what we're trying to accomplish.
otherwise we're never gonna get things rezoned to a higher density zone.
And you can hang your hat on the fact that developers look at those plans, the future land use plan, trails plans, master plan, whatever.
Yeah.
They're looking at those probably more than staff actually, because they want to make their projections. They want to see how many lots they could get. They may be lining trucks up based on those numbers, but again, the bottom line is, does the zoning fit for the area?
Yeah, and that's understood. I'm keeping that note in the back of my mind, that June 9th hearing was the last one that anybody could apply for a PUD. But, once applications start showing up after June 9th, I'm not even gonna hear them until we have something.
And that was made very clear to the applicant, so he made his choice for hard zoning.
Okay.
Let me clear up one thing. I'm still really confused. A rezone application is not a land use application. It's a legislative decision. And so to my knowledge, a rezone does not vest one into a PUD ordinance, period. And
So is a PUD ordinance a land use? Is that what you're considering a PUD?
yeah, a PUD is a land use.
Our code, the PUD code states it's a legislative action in our PUD ordinance overlay. So the PUD is a legislative,
I understand, but they're totally different applications.
okay?
And so I guess in my mind, it's critical to the conversation because if he either qualifies or he doesn't. I think it fits under the PUD, but if he didn't apply for the PUD, he just applied for a rezone, then technically he's not vested.
He applied. But isn't it legislative still?
This is a legislative application before you tonight.
Right.
He did not choose to use the PUD version of,
But the PUD is also a legislative. So why would they not be under the same grandfather?
maybe I don't understand. the question.
Okay. So they would still be grandfathered under because the PUD isn't a land use.
To my knowledge, it is, but
In our code, it's written as
it has to have legislative approval, but it's still a land use application.
it's a hybrid.
Yeah, 'cause you're changing
Yeah. Because you're changing the density, and the density requirement is a legislative
Right.
act. So
Right.
since it's a hybrid, it would still be considered a legislative. It's
Yeah,
under-
it is, but what I'm saying is when you make a rezone application, it doesn't vest anything because it's not a land use.
That makes sense.
So, which,
Okay.
for me, and I don't know what you guys feel like, but I'm fine to rezone. I feel good about the rezone if they can present something, just like the PUD was proposed, something so incredible that we feel like it's worth putting additional density and adding because we're adding, oh no, it's way more than that. Because what were we, 36 point, my laptop went to sleep.
6.29.
0.29.
R110, RM8, and
4356
extending.
divided by 10,000, even if we just take it like that, 4.3 times 36.29, 158.
extending R60 and
So
changing R110.
393 minus 158. So essentially, we're adding 235 units without the PUD just with the RM16 and the
That's
RA.
big.
This is an R110 section, and we're.
235 units.
Above,
Is that
above
15?
what it's normally.
Yeah.
Yes. Right?
Christine, is this contingent on that road being built?
Yes,
Goes from the border to 1,000 north?
because there's only
There's
one,
only
there's
one
only
entrance.
one egress, and that's already been discussed with the developer, but
But the vision, like that we had planned, like with the PUD and all the overlays and everything, when somebody is adding, 235 units at least in density, that there's some compensating factor for the neighbors, the community, at large to say, okay, hey, yes, we gave them 235 more units, and as part of that, we put in the pickleball courts or whatever the proposal is. But I think we tell them, yeah, we'll approve it, but bring us back the development agreement. And we don't need it all designed. We just need, okay, we're gonna have 60 units RM16, we're gonna have 70 units RM8. We got 8 acres of a park with 2 pickleball courts and batteries, whatever you're proposing. Just generally, I think we can get the designs later.
Just
Don't you think?
rough numbers.
Yeah, just some ideas.
How many single units?
Which means not engineered plans, no interior.
Yeah, I don't think we need all that at that stage. We
we
just
need a
need
narrative.
We need the pieces of the development agreement that are gonna hold him to the design and hold him to whatever the acreage and the density is that we're trading.
We're really getting.
Yeah, that we're trading for the extra amenities that will increase all of the advantages for that area.
The only issue is that there's no requirement for any open space in the subdivision ordinance.
There's no requirement for us to
That could be
rezone
the
it
issue
either.
at hand, and so I can level with that. But yeah, rezone, you have entitlements, and then an engineer pulls up our code ideally, and they look at the setbacks, what's allowed, how many units they can have, how much they need to devote to improvements, and then they design accordingly. And that's going to happen, and it's going to yield a development agreement, period.
Tyler?
Why don't you approach?
Sorry. Mike, I'm happy to present something exactly what you just described, because that's what we're planning. So, it's basically gonna be something like I've already presented to Christine and Jeremy. It's not gonna be deep, like engineering and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we may lose some units here or whatever by the time we're done and figure everything out, but I'm happy to next time or through the process present, here's how many apartment doors, duplex doors, townhouse doors, single families,
Green space.
green space. We're planning on doing a walking trail that all the way kind of looping around the whole thing.
That's what we need to see.
I'm happy to present something like that.
So can we table with the expectation that we will receive a development agreement?
Bring it back next meeting.
Um,
Really, I think all we need is acreages, just saying, okay, hey, we got 10 acres of RM16, wherever it is, because I still am fuzzy where exactly it's located.
Right. Like I'm a little hung on the development agreement just because the ones I've done in the past are very detailed.
Mhm.
I don't think I can do that at this time, but if you want to see something visual and with number of doors and stuff, unless Christine and Jeremy are like, what are you doing?
Can we do a simplified development agreement for the zoning?
Well, it won't be a development agreement. We're just looking for a concept.
I think it will be a development agreement. I
We
think
need
that's
to
what
have
we're,
some sort of agreement.
Not in a binding sense. What he's saying is.
no, I think we are. No, I think
Yeah, we
are.
want it to be binding, otherwise if he
Because
sells the property, somebody else can
Right.
zone
You're gonna
it
have to
or
sell
do
it.
whatever.
Yeah, so the vision is, I think we just put some high level stuff that basically says, okay, we'll give you the X zoning if you provide X acres and parks with X inclusions. I don't think it has to be crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to, I think it can still be really flexible and really you can design it however, as long as it
Yeah.
meets the minimum standard of the design in the development agreement. It's just my gut.
I'm gonna have Jeremy pull up our very first concept that I shared with these guys. We are gonna work on this a little bit. So, because it's not shown any duplex or anything, but this is the concept that I presented. And it actually has the numbers of doors, single families, townhomes.
Sorry, I'm just gonna interrupt you. From what I'm understanding from the commission, I do not think they're gonna feel comfortable approving the zone change without a formal agreement for this, no matter what their concept plan or whatever is shown to us.
Okay.
Just so you know, for tonight, that's what I'm feeling from our commission,
We
which
cannot require that.
I'm just saying that they
It
will
cannot be required.
Yeah, we don't
Our
have to
commission-
require it, then we'll just deny it.
deny it.
And that's a recommendation of denial. You can have that as your finding. That's the purpose of this meeting.
So can we recommend to table it until we come back?
I wouldn't recommend that.
Why not?
Table means killing.
Well, not necessarily,
The
table
applicant
means that
has
you're putting it out
No,
to another
table
meeting.
means killing, and the applicant has submitted an application and paid a fee. He has a right to have a hearing. And so then to send it into the dark world to never see the light again would be a violation of his rights.
So can we table it until next meeting?
I would continue it until next meeting, but I can get it pulled up right here.
But it's not an agreement.
No, it's not.
So I'm just letting you know,
Ask for an agreement.
But I
think
guess
that our-
what we could do is we could still review it if we like the design and approve it based off of a development agreement presented to the city council that includes X, Y, Z, or whatever he's already got, the trails, the pickleball courts, the whatever, if we feel good about that design, you know.
But what they're saying is they're not gonna take a development agreement to the city council. They're gonna take our recommendation to the city council.
Just the
For the
rezone,
rezone.
just the rezone.
Just the
part.
rezone is all.
Well, I think it's just a waste in my mind. I think we still can, because I think it's way better to do it with a development agreement than to just deny him just because we can't approve it.
The code doesn't specify that. I would require something.
Well, this would be voluntary. He's voluntarily entering in a development agreement to make sure that we're feeling good about the additional density.
Otherwise, we reject it.
It's just like all the other
I'd rather
overlays.
play with you guys and we work together than you just reject it and
Well, that's exactly what I think.
That's what we're saying. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
so I'm pretty easy. So,
Which again, I think highlights our understanding of what the PUD used to be.
Yeah,
That
we want it to
play,
be,
that
yeah.
play was like, it was the sandbox.
That's why we
That
wrote.
whole idea was a
Yeah,
sandbox.
well, we don't want you to jump through all these stupid hoops, this red tape garbage. Like, let's just get to the brass tacks and work it out, you know?
So, council, commission.
Well, I'm working on pulling up the concept planners.
Yeah, I
Sure.
just was gonna ask you guys.
Right.
Are you comfortable if we see this concept plan and agree with it? Are you comfortable moving forward with approving the recommendation,
I am.
even without any formal agreement?
I think we
It's not
still
working.
put in the thing that says we're only
What do you mean?
recommending approval with the development. The
But
city
that-
council wants to do whatever they want to do, I
Yeah.
guess they should do that. But
But that
yeah,
would be-
I think we do that as long as the amenities and the things that they are proposing is worth the trade.
015.
My next question is
Preliminary
about this, but is what is a formal mechanism to which we can attach, that we can attach these concerns to our recommendation to the
The
city
overlay.
council?
It's the
Without-
It's the PC overlay that's coming.
Okay.
Oh, you're doing an overlay on this as well?
No, not this, sorry.
Oh.
No. The mechanism that would be the code that we were directed by you and the city council to develop. And that will be coming, that will be the
What was that
tool.
other
It'll just replace the PUD overlay. So,
And we could, but I guess if we do this, it's the same thing, as long as we have some sort of standardization of whatever we're gonna do, which was the whole vision of the PUD, was to standardize the overlays.
As long
Which
as it's
he-
legal to do though. This recommendation went through a plan, or not a plan, but a concept. That even legal.
you know, or-
Well, I think the development agreement side of
I
it
just saw it. She has
is, if we can't require it, then he's voluntarily, and we can't make him. But if we're saying, hey, we're gonna deny it, if you don't, then, you know, it's up to him, I guess, if he wants to voluntarily enter into the development agreement to, you know, make it work. And I think it's a positive thing, just like the overlay, just like the PUD, it's the same sort of concept, is like, let's, you know, work it out and make sure that it's gonna be a good development, not just 500 units that are just packed in there.
Which is the.
So I just sent my concept over. It isn't completely dialed in. This is like back in April when we first got it. It's gonna show townhomes at the top. We're actually gonna get rid of a good section of those and we're gonna put duplexes in there, so there's not gonna be as many townhomes. It doesn't show, like, it just shows green space, doesn't show the actual pickleball courts and stuff. And it doesn't show like the walking trail, but this one kind of gets you a little bit of the vision.
Did it give to you yet?
Yes. Yeah, but
This computer's having major issues tonight, so I'm not getting anything.
Thank you for your patience.
Goes both ways.
No, it's great.
As a point of clarification, the RM16 that currently exists is being extended as
Yes.
part of this plan, right?
In Northern Boundary.
Then the remainder of it goes to RM8.
In the future, I would like to have acreages listed if we could, of like how much is going to be in each zone. I mean, I know split zoning is very random, but it just would make more sense to have that listed rather than just to the northern boundary.
Gotcha. I thought you did, sorry.
it's submitted on the portal.
It just wasn't on our staff report, so that's where.
So this is just the, oh no, this is the whole thing, yeah.
So the courts would go in the green space?
Green space, and then also, you see that clubhouse there? There's probably gonna be some around there. That clubhouse is more like, if there is apartments, you know, it's something that can be rented out for someone to hold a party or like a venue kind of a deal for the community. So like I said, this is very rough. From what Micah was describing, I can come up with something 10 times better than this. I just don't have that today.
Are those current lots
No,
on the gray, are those?
in the gray.
That's the other property he doesn't own.
That's one I was hoping the Woods would sell me their piece, but they won't.
It's not developed?
No.
Okay. Having the connector road ready, you know, I think that's
Yeah.
I like seeing that.
And then also, concept was also kind of made when Jeff was here. And Jeff had this idea that this road was gonna cut through the golf course and all this stuff. So if you see that 66 at the very top, Jeff, for whatever reason, he thought a road was gonna go through the golf course and all the way through. That's not happening, so that's also changing from now working with Jeremy and Christine. So.
Not gonna lie, it doesn't make sense to have a golf course in the middle of town.
It's a lovely.
It wasn't the middle of town in 25
Well, it is now.
And it works for what it works for.
9 holes.
Yeah. It's good time.
So based on this, are you in agreement with the motion? I would make make a motion to approve or to make a positive recommendation to the city council for getting the state's free zone location number 26.015
I will second.
with the expectation that a required expectation that a development agreement will be brought to the city council. And recommending to the city council that they would not pass it without some sort of agreement in place
That includes.
that includes the green space and the, like,
I
the
development
actual
agreement.
development
The trails.
parts.
Are we just-
Clubhouse.
Are we detailing the?
I don't think we can necessarily
development
detail
agreement?
it, but I think we need to have some sort of agreement before
Yeah, I think
actually
we
approving
can.
the free zone.
I think we can.
I think that's,
I think maybe.
yeah, you can make the motion. It's a little messy.
I guess for me, maybe we could even do it in a different way.
Because don't we have to approve of development agreements?
Yeah, you do.
So if we say with the expectation of a development agreement in place, that.
When's the last time we saw a development agreement?
Well,
We haven't seen a development agreement in years. I don't think we approve the development agreements. If we do, I would be seriously surprised.
Well, I guess we
I think the
review
city
development
council,
agreements and the city council.
yeah, we reviewed the substantial inclusions in
Yeah,
them, but
okay.
ultimately the fine tooth
Yeah,
is
okay,
the
okay.
attorneys and the,
Right.
we've never even reviewed a development agreement in this body that I could think of in 13
I
years.
feel like when,
Have we?
when, what's his bucket was for visionary. They were going back and forth on
Maybe they had it.
the difference between stucco and stone facing and, you know, what are these specific setbacks? And it's
Those are
like,
things that I'm used to seeing.
it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's detailed, but everybody has had to do it, we've got it down all over. the place.
Right, so I'm saying though, we have had those conversations of very specific agreements between us and the developer, which I think, I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I don't think it has to be that detailed.
No, I don't either. I
I
say,
think we're just saying to the city council, we
we need to see a
recommend this
development
as long as
agreement
there's
attached
something
to
in
this
place.
recommendation of
Yes.
approval.
To get the
Public
amenities.
amenities?
Yeah, the
Correct.
amenities is really the target. But I wonder if we should modify it and say we deny the rezone unless you
I don't think we can,
propose and put a development agreement together that has amenities sufficient for 235 additional units. Because then, if he doesn't feel like he wants to do it, he doesn't feel like it's fair or whatever, then he don't have to do it.
Go back to PUD.
Well, depends on if he's vested or not.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think he is, but we need to, that's the other answer.
I can get that answer for you.
Because
so I guess
we
that's
really
the
need to
hard
be
part
clear
here,
on
is
that.
that I think Tyler, Mr. Farr, he's definitely done this for a very long time, like he's in this, right? Like he's not going to be selling the property and letting someone else rezone this for the apartments, right? And I think that's where our opinion as the planning commission is going to do of, yes, we do want this, we want these agreements in place in the future. But I also think that it's not fair to Tyler to say, oh, we're gonna deny him when he's obviously already done all this stuff. He's not going to go anywhere. He's not just a massive developer going through. And so I think as a planning commission, it doesn't make sense for us to deny it unless he has a development agreement. I think it makes more sense for us to say, we would rather approve it and send a positive recommendation, but we would really like these other things in place to show that we're expecting this in the future. Like, this is what the PUD would have done. We expect that this is what
Yeah, but
would happen in the
what
future.
we would like doesn't sound like it has a lot of teeth.
We don't have to, my God.
We do if we deny it, that's the point.
That's the leverage point that we have, is
Is-
denial.
But that sucks for Tyler.
No, it doesn't, it's fine, we can work it out, as long as he's good with the development agreement, then it's the same thing. We say we recommend denial unless a development agreement is brought forth that consummates all of those amenities that we want to see for the trade.
Now encapsulate that into our motion.
I like that.
Copy,
That's my gut.
copy and paste into that positive recommendation.
No,
But
he wants
I
a
don't think
negative
that's legal.
recommendation.
Well, I'll make a I'll
Yeah,
make
go
a
for it,
new
Micah.
motion.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, motion fails.
Yeah, I guess
My
you better
motion
decide
fails.
on that one. Or you have to withdraw your.
I withdraw my positive recommendation.
Can we, I mean, I think you have to, no, never mind.
I make a motion, we forward a negative recommendation to the city council for the Buchanan Estates rezone application 26.05, not amending the zoning unless that it is coupled and approved with a development agreement that consummates the density, the park space, the trail, the pickleball courts, and the clubhouse.
It's been moved
Personal opinion.
I'll second that kind of motion.
and seconded. That we recommend a motion for negative recommendation to the city council unless we have the described agreement with the amenities.
And if the agreement is provided, then we would submit a positive recommendation for approval.
I think. It's been moved. Is there a second?
I second
And seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Say yes.
No.
Yes. It's 3-2.
He already voted.
Okay.
So you can say no if you want.
No.
Okay.
What did you guys want to see?
Like, I just think we should
Motion
pass it as is.
Passes.
You just think we should rezone it without any?
This time, yes, not in the future. That's how I feel.
Because then if something goes wrong with it and he sells it, then we can say, ha, that was why I didn't want to get rid of the PUDs. That's my attitude on it.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think we're understanding what our vision was, and that's my point. That's been my point from the last one. But I think there's other things that you guys were dealing with that we aren't privy to, as far as the PUD as it was, that made it a mess. I think we can fix those.
I think you still need to say motion passes.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, but thank you, because I do need that.
I didn't hear you.
I do need that. Make sure it's on that record. I hope I'm loud enough for the speaker to maybe you can grab that. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Moving to 4B.
Mr. Chair, item 4B, planning staff is only the office that is bringing this forward to this commission. Mr. Chair, I yield my time to Director Lefevre, present in the audience, to explain the master plans for parks, open space, and trails.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
You guys are up.
Hello, Commission.
Welcome.
I'm Zach Lefevre, the Community Services Director for Tremont City, and I'm accompanied by Sam Taylor. Not much design, but
Sub-Sam.
yeah, he has a title there. It's pretty high.
Professional.
So a little history about how this has come about. In 2011, Tremont City created its first trails and open space master plan that was guiding the Parks and Rec for about 10 years. In 2021, I became the Parks and Recreation Director, and during that same time, which was right after COVID, we saw explosive growth within the community for the next 2 years, through 22 and 23. During that same exact time, 21 through 23, Sam and his group at Landmark Design was creating the integrated land use plan, which had a section in that for parks, trails, and open space to update that 2011 version of the plan. In 24, after I've been in my position a while, we were reviewing the plan, and we noticed that almost immediately after it was adopted, it was already out of date because of that explosive growth that we saw during the creation of the plan. And so shortly after, in the end of 24 to beginning of 25, we wanted to break that portion of the integrated land use plan out and create and update the parks, trails, and open space master plan to be its own separate plan that can be put into the other plans in the future as the community development department works on developing citywide plans. So that's where this came from. The original Trails and Open Space Master Plan was basically working under the guise of, or working with trails and adopting plans to build trails within the community and walking space and connectivity within the city. The integrated land use plan focused a little bit more on adding the park section of that. This is updating both of those and bringing them both together so that we would have one document to work off of as we move forward with our parks, trails, and open space. I'll turn this time over to Sam to run through the plan a little bit and help him with any city questions that pop up.
Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks. Yeah, first slide. Hey, pleased to be with you.
Okay, thank you.
Tonight, Planning Commission. I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough. Hopefully you've had a chance to review this document already that's been shared with you. The plan has 6 chapters. The first is an introduction, which outlines the purpose of the plan, its organization, sort of a profile of your community. The second chapter is focused on parks, particularly looking at the level of service, park needs within the community and standards to follow. The recommendations come out of that for updating the park system. Chapter 3 is detailed park design concepts. I'll get into those in a minute. 4 is on trails, 5 on open space, and finally concludes with an implementation funding chapter, which serves as the roadmap for implementing the plan. Next slide. Zach's kind of hit on some of the points of why this plan is going to be important. Really, this connects to the city's mission for the goals of connection for its residents. And like all plans, the goal is to give a clear snapshot of where you are today, where you would like to go. So we've looked at this through 2 lenses. One is an analytical approach, looking at your existing conditions, what's on the ground today, and how it stacks up against other communities and national standards. And then the second angle we've looked at is through the community input on what the community is desiring within the park system today. And the importance that the value that this plan brings to your community is it gives staff a roadmap on what they can work towards. It gives them policies and actions that they can work towards implementing, budgeting for as they're doing their financial planning. Next slide. In community engagement, we had 2 segments to that. We had a community survey, which was conducted by On Point Insights. Last year, we received over 500 responses for that, and that was a statistically valid survey, which the full detailed results are included in the appendix of the plan. And we also had the public open house, which was held in March this year, where we presented the various park concepts and key recommendations of the plan for public feedback. Overall, very positive on most everything that was presented at that open house. Here are the top takeaways, what the community shared with us. First, residents use parks frequently, with Jeannie Stevens, Schumann, and North Park being the most visited and highly rated overall. Secondly, overall park quality is positive, though there were desires for improvements at Meadow and Civic Center Park in particular. Top priorities for the community members are better trail connectivity, having additional parks, and improved communication about the parks and recreation system. There's various interest in many programs expressed. I won't read all those up there, but you see that aquatics and dog parks leads the way, which is common. And recreation centers often accompanies the aquatics discussion when communities start talking about that as a priority. So that's not something that's explored in great detail in this plan. Recreation center usually requires a feasibility study of its own. So that is a recommendation in the plan. So we first look at to give you an overview of the existing conditions, we first look at the park system from a level of service perspective. This is a metric that's defined by the National Recreation and Parks Association, and the national standard is typically 10 acres per 1,000 residents. We seldom ever see that in Utah, and those communities that tout that, I think, are lying.
A lot of those cities might be back east where it is so highly populated that they need those because they don't have 5 national parks in their state, right? They don't have open space. So yeah.
They don't actually have a lot of public land either.
Exactly, and that's the key distinction between the West and the East, right? And so the East tends to meet that metric, the West tends to not. So you can see benchmarking against other Utah communities where Tremont falls, lower than some, but not, I've seen some as low as the ones.
Looks like lowest
You're not,
of
that
all.
it is the lowest on that list, yes.
North Salt Lake.
But I have seen lower.
Brigham City, though.
So this is definitely one metric that sometimes brings alarm. It is evidence that there has not been significant park development in the community for some time, which has been noted previously in the meeting tonight. And it does make the case for acquiring additional park acres. But it is less important typically than park access. This metric has fallen out of favor in some communities for this reason of how do we even achieve this increase, right? It seems like an uphill battle. So on the next slide, and here's why, part of why it's an uphill battle. It's all hinged on population. And as you are a growing population community, the level of service continues to decrease with the population that you add, and so it starts to work against you. One key thing that's I had some conversation with staff about today is the question of where are we actually going as a future population projection. Most of our population projection data that's available is conservative, significantly conservative, and we are kind of sailing into the unknown as to where you will actually land. So we have stuck with the projected increase from the capital facilities sewer plan that's adopted, but that even kind of missed the mark in its initial projection. So we just sort of translated that figure for this plan to work off of, but it could be that the population continues to grow even further. So if you want to assume that number, over the next 10 years, you need to start acquiring land fast, and that's where the 38.7 acres is up there, to try and bring up your level of service. I don't want everyone to get hung up on that, because park distribution is often the more meaningful way to increase impact, making sure that there are parks within walking distance of every home. And that distribution is influenced by how far people are willing to travel, based on what the amenities are within that park. So if we have a larger park like J.D. Stevens has more amenities, people are usually willing to drive to that, whereas a smaller park they might not be as willing to go to. So that is taken into account. On the next slide, we have a map where we look at the service areas geographically of each of the parks, which are outlined in purple. And you can see the yellow areas are the existing residential parts of the community, and there are some significant gaps where folks are not able to walk to a park within close proximity to their home. So the plan outlines, if some recommendations on the next slide in its future map of where those gaps could be filled as the community continues to grow. This is based on the full build-out vision, so there's some stuff out into the further annexation areas of where certain park sizes might be considered to be located. These are very general, but give us sort of a laundry list of what might help achieve filling distribution gaps, but also meeting that level of service number that we're trying to target.
I'd like to, so a few things. So our goal is at 5.5 acres per 1,000 residents is what council has set as our goal. The last time we were meeting that goal was in 2001 when J.D. Stevens Park was built. Since then, we've fallen behind because we haven't had the need. Our sports have typically been the main source of the need for parks. And right now our parks are overused and we have no space to move to allow our parks to recover and recuperate. So they're just getting overused more and more. Also with the map system in there, we do have 3 current parks that are, one more typical back. Right there, you have Stokes Park, Harvest Acres Park, and River's Edge Park that are shown here, but they're not built. And but they are on that map because that's the land we own for those. So even though this looks like we have even less parks in use than what this map even shows. So just to clarify a few things with that.
So when can those count as part of the LOS?
We would typically start counting them when they're developed, when they're open with some level of amenity.
And how many acres are those 3?
Those are significant. I want to say they had 26 acres total.
It's close to that, yeah. Yep. So we have an 8-acre park, I believe a 5-acre park, and an 11-acre park, somewhere in those ballpark numbers. So also with that, these are detention basins. So stormwater detention basins, they are not set out as like J.D. Stevens Park is just a park, right? These are detention basins first, park amenities second. So we're kind of have to work with the public works and the storm drain to get those parks built, or the stormwater portion built, so we can get the parks built on top of that. So
Were you saying that those were going to be considered,
want to be considered.
like as part of the parks?
When they're built.
When they're built,
Once they're
right?
built,
Yeah,
okay.
so they are storm, and so the 3 current parks that we have planned are stormwater detention basins that will have park amenities inside of it. So it's not going to be all open space. There are going to be elevation changes and things within that. So looking forward, that's what Sam is kind of detailed on priorities and recommendations on how to move forward.
Can I make a recommendation just as an overall idea? I used to live next to one of those, and it did storm one day. And you can lose kids underneath there very, very quickly. And there was never any posted sign. And kids don't understand that the drains can get clogged. And so I can see something very bad happening if we get a quick storm and there's kids that are playing over there. I'm just saying it's a danger that parents need to be aware of, because most parents were completely unaware of it when we lived next to it.
At least the retention basins in our neighborhood, they're not too deep. Even when there is a big storm, it's not.
Well, we had maybe ours filled up maybe 2 to 3 feet, and my kids, I went over there to see my kids playing, and one of them went under and I could not see them.
There's potential to drown within 6 inches of water.
Yeah.
And these are deep.
Zach, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that this 27 million proposed is really the best use, or should we be building like an indoor rec center that can be used year round on some of this money? Does that make sense?
Yeah. A rec center is going to be able to be used around. There is a need for both. Right now, I can't expand my soccer program, my flag football program, my baseball programs. And we have kids that are wanting to play that can't play. And those are sports that can't be played indoors. They can to a certain extent. It could add a field or 2, but not to the capacity that we need. So we need both is the answer. We have very limited indoor use facilities, solely owned by the school district and one at the county that we can use. And it all hinges on our relationship with the board or the commissioners at that time on how, if we're able to use them or not, right? So truly, we do need both. In 2008, there was a feasibility study done for a rec center, and it was proposed to build one for $10 million that didn't pass. Now we're looking at 60 million for kind of a basic rec center. We are looking at doing some budget engineering to try to get something that meets our needs, but not be architecturally cool, but that's kind of who we are also, right? We're just practical. We need the services. And so that's something that we're working toward, but we got to get funding in place first. So, that's a ways off. Sam does make recommendations for an indoor facility, but it's not highly recognized in the parks and open space portion of this plan. It's just something that it is a need, and we need to look toward how do we make it happen.
Do you know what the impact fee is right now for parks per home or unit?
Christine, Jamie is our new finance director. She came in and we've sat down and done a lot of studies on that. We need to get this plan in place so that we have the plan so we can update that study or our feasibility rates with this plan so we can set new expectations. Right now, I believe it's around 1,400 per unit, but that's the number that's sticking in my head. I don't recall, the exact number, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but I guess even with the plan, you can't really increase.
You can't increase the level of service
until you bring the other parks online.
Right.
So that's why I was wondering in my mind if it makes it makes sense to not improve Genie, North Park, Meadow Park, Schuman Park, and actually at least do the bones of the fields you need on Harvest, Stokes, and River's Edge.
Right.
So then we can include them in the level of service acreage.
Yeah.
And then be able to increase that fee accordingly on the impact fee side.
And on the staff level, that's our goal, is to get those 3 built so that we can then, we have to spend the money that we have in reserve down and build the level of service so that our impact fee is at its highest. So that's our goal, is to do that before we start with the improvements of our current parks. And that's kind of how it has to happen, so that we have somewhere to move the people at our current parks to play in other areas, so we can then improve our current parks. Another thing is our current parks can't be improved with impact fees. Those have to go to new construction to be able to build. So we have to come up with a different funding source, a RAP tax, or some other grants, or some other funding source, bonds or whatever, to be able to improve our current parks.
How much do we have in reserve in the Parks Fund right now?
Including impact fees, I think we're around $2 million. I'm not sure the breakout between the two on what that is, but as we get later, you'll see that a new park is around 7 million for the biggest park. So we're nowhere near where we need to be to improve those. But with this plan, we can start looking more toward the future on how to get there.
I don't remember seeing anything in this, but is there an option like Meadow Park got the basketball court a couple of years ago, like donated? Was it donated? Are there grants or something we can look into for things like that?
Yep, so that was a 50-50 grant, I think, with the Utah Jazz, where they paid 50% with our contribution of 50%. So there are a lot of different things. We plan on going for federal grants, which have a lot of high dollar money associated to them. There's just a lot of follow-up with those as well, and the potential to put this into open space for perpetuity, right? Which I think that is something typically what a community wants to happen. The drawback is when it's put into a spot that's not proposed for that. The tennis courts right here in our parking lot was paid for by Land Water Conservation Fund. So to demolish those courts or to add parking or something else, we have to replace those into another part of the city because of those funds that were used for it. We can't just get rid of them. So there are some drawbacks with that, but typically you don't see the con side of
So what you're saying is if we get a grant, then they can't get rid of it and we have to keep it as a park forever.
Certain grants.
Okay, fine.
But so after we do some of those improvements to meet the parks, the level of service, should we not include an indoor rec center in this plan to some degree?
Well, again, this is parks, trails, and open space, so indoor facilities wouldn't necessarily fit within that plan, but it should fit within a plan.
Can't it fit in? I mean, wouldn't we consider that part of the parks rec plan for Tremont
It
City?
would for recreation, but when we're talking about open space and leisure time, quality of life, the programs that we have in those spaces are separated from the park itself, and the open space and the green space itself.
What if we do one of those hybrid ones that has like the wall that opens up with the pool on the outside and the inside?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying not to include it in the plan. I just don't know if this is the correct plan. It would be in.
Yeah, normally a recreation center is conducted as a feasibility study of its own, very similarly to the sports complex project that was recently.
So can you increase impact based on that?
Only if you're gonna build it in 6 years.
Yeah.
If you're gonna build, and any of this can be included if you're gonna build it in 6 years and it's gonna increase level of service.
Yeah, and so that's the part where once we get this plan adopted with the new parks, we can raise our impact fees to include those. Then once those are built, we can do it again as our level of service raises.
Can I go back to a comment you made? You said we couldn't use impact fees for existing parks.
Correct.
but my understanding is we can, as long as we can prove it's for the new growth.
That's correct.
We can't do it for maintenance, but if we're adding like
Yes.
another baseball diamond to Genie Stevens, I think we can use impact fees, correct?
I don't know on the amenities on how that works. I do know that, let's say,
Those, you would have to reasonably
You have to increase the size and
have proof
makes
that
sense anyway.
development within the area of that park was increasing the impact on the park and necessitating the need for that field.
But like Genie, where it's a regional park, I mean, that should be pretty arguable. The whole city is the region.
You might be able to make that argument, yeah.
But I guess it's irrelevant depending on, I guess, what the amount of impact fees is that we have in there.
if we had surplus of impact fees, which you shouldn't have, I'd say that's no issue. But I do know that Murray City had a rec center and they used impact fees to build a building within a building. So I know, I think there may be creative ways to make it happen, but you have to have the numbers and the proof to justify it. That's something we'd have to look into.
But do you think that should like correlate with this? Like, should we be putting both of these plans together simultaneously, saying, okay, goal number one is build out these 3 parks and get the base infrastructure, the base park structure? You know, because I guess in my mind, we need to prioritize, like, you know, where the impact fee money is going and make sure that it's going to increase level of service quicker so we can increase those impact fees, so we can kind of snowball it to some degree. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I think you're right on with Sam and his recommendations, because in the back of it, it has the priorities on what we should be going after. One is land purchasing property, so that in the future we have the land to be able to have the open space. His priority studies.
Well, yeah, if you've got those, let's talk about that. I mean, I guess whatever you have, we got to go through, I guess, what you think the priorities ought to be and how that fits into here.
Right. Yeah, we can get there. I believe, I mean, I have to go back and look at it, but we have an implementation action to conduct a feasibility study for our recreation center. I believe it's a high priority item in the action plan. If it's not, we can bump it up.
And it was in there, I think, because that's the Tremont Sport Complex was part of that feasibility study that was being worked on at some point. The feedback that we got was, this is a fantastic thing, everyone loved it. How are we going to pay for it? That's the issue, right? So we decided we need to revisit this concept in a future date with a more affordable option. But it is in there in the priorities at the end of the document. If that's the part you're looking for, Mike, is the 2 you're talking about, impact fees and rec center? Is that what you mean by the 2? Okay, yeah.
I just do the 2 studies, because in my mind, like, the sooner we can get a vision of exactly what we want to do and how we can raise the funds and raise the impact fees fairly and efficiently, you know, then I think we have a better chance of getting there. And especially like you're saying with impact fee studies and all the other studies that have to go with this, if it's all defined, designed, and ready, then it's more likely we can get there.
Yeah, and that's the hard part with like a rec center design, I guess. You got to go through this whole feasibility study. There was some portion that was just pushed through for the past one, and it kind of ballooned past what the community was able to afford. So we revisit the space and everything. So we can't necessarily put a plan for that in here. We can just say this is a top priority and what we should look at, right? And then we go through another round with an architecture firm like VCBO, or take plans to Newport and say, can you budget engineer something similar to this that we can work toward? There are some things that we're trying to work with some community partners to hopefully work something out. But again, that's happened 10 times in the past 20 years. So we try to get there. Most we can do right now is just have that as a top priority to continue to look at as city staff.
Okay. The other level that we looked at, going into more detail in the parks, is the actual amenities that are within them. We have set some standards for minimum of amenity provision, depending on the park type, what size classification it is. That's a carryover from the previous iteration of this plan. So from there, we evaluate, one, how does the park stack up against those standards? Two, we established a level of service for each amenity, about how many amenities do you need per the population, and come up with a surplus or efficiency there. And then three, we also have the feedback from the public on what they're desiring in the parks, so it was indicated in the survey. Those three components basically developed a program for what the parks need to be stocked with. So when we get to the park concepts, next slide, that the program for those park concepts is built off of those needs. So it wasn't just we threw in a basketball court because it came up as a need. So these park concepts are not by any means a final design. They're intended to be a starting point for staff as they begin having conversations about future capital projects and what they want to get designed. So that design is actually going to evolve as they're implemented, but they help form a starting point for financial planning, and also helpful in seeking grant funding if you have an idea to illustrate what you're trying to accomplish. Next slide. And so finally, the park section kind of concludes with these recommendations. First is to develop the planned parks that we talked about. Second, to upgrade the existing parks. Third, acquire land and develop additional parks long range. And then there's some additional sort of system-wide recommendations for wayfinding signage and updating codes for dog use within the parks. The trail section was of high public interest. This is definitely a key priority of the plan. You don't really have a significant trail system in place yet today. And this is a major recreational focus statewide, probably countrywide. So what the plan basically does is establishes a hierarchy of trail types. That's illustrated on the next slide. Some are serving regional routes that go beyond the borders of the city. Others would be more local. And then on the next slide, the section also establishes some minimum standards for the trails to be built to. And this was a carryover and update from the 2011 plan. The open space chapter really addresses open space at more of a high level. There are no level of service standards or prescriptions for open space. And when we talk about open space in this chapter, we're really talking about natural open space as opposed to developed parks. But the chapter does outline an acquisition toolbox of how the city can acquire these areas. And then finally, the implementation and funding section summarizes all the plan recommendations, assigns cost, high-level planning level cost estimates to each of them. I think it's really important to not get hung up on this bit. The big number is scary, and everyone's like, how do we pay for that? As Zach's already alluded to, there are many ways to pay for these projects, right? And the goal is to identify which projects you'd like to advance forward, work on them a piece at a time, and use various funding mechanisms to try and fund and make them happen. So this is probably where Zach and his staff, other staff, are going to be spending most of their time, which is within the action plan. Just takes all the implementation items within the plan and gives them priority and timeline and some additional notes so they can start checking them off one by one. There are many, so we don't have plans to go through every single one tonight. And then next slide. Okay, we're there. We made it through. That's the whirlwind summary of plan. We did receive a number of comments today from planning staff, some additional edits that need to occur with the plan. The majority of them are clerical in nature. We made an adjustment to one number here and didn't quite catch all the iterations of it elsewhere, sort of thing. So we have plans to update the plan accordingly to take care of those clerical issues. But the person who made those comments, I think, may speak to us a little bit further in the public hearing, so I'll leave it to that. Anyway, questions I can answer for you that you haven't already asked.
Do trails count as park space to increase the level of service?
They typically do not, yeah. So unless you start providing, there is this sort of weird gray space of linear parks. So if you start to amenitize them along the way with other amenities, you could theoretically count them as a park.
Or if they're part of a larger,
Yeah.
like a Amy Stevens
parks.
park
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah. So
Is there any understanding of how many of the LDS church building properties are probably used as park space in this area?
yeah. So that frequently comes up when we do these analyses is church properties and school properties, right? They are certainly contributing sites to how the community uses pseudo parkland. But we typically leave them out of the level of service analysis because the city does not own them. And so they have no control as to whether they remain and contribute to that level of service.
Does the church ever sell them to cities?
Sometimes.
Is that something that we would look into?
That has actually been occurring in Salt Lake County right now.
Yeah, that's right.
West Valley City has purchased 3 church properties recently, and they have been converting the sites over. So
Is that something we would consider as a city?
In our community, I believe there's one property that may
The South
come
Stake
up.
Center?
What was that?
The South Stake Center with their baseball field?
No, it's two. We're talking about maybe the one on 200 North and Tremont Street. That may be of consideration to that church.
But that is like potential.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely on the table to have those conversations, and I think it just depends on what position the owner's in.
Another question about population. Obviously, in the last 6 years, we've had a large population growth, but as we all know tonight, we are not planning for as much population growth in the future. Is it safe to say that we keep this based on the sewage usage and plan for that, or is this safer to estimate high?
That is a decision that I think the city needs to make.
would you recommend?
So
For
There's
our
no way to
stand,
forecast people.
Yeah, but if we're
you know-
forecasting how much we're letting developments come in,
Well, that's because you know how many people that those developments can service. So you're like, this number is how much we can absorb, instead of saying, we expect so many to be there.
But really, the vision in my mind is not necessarily the number of people, it's increasing the level of service. So when whoever comes, we can charge them the actual increased level that we're actually at. Because right now, at 2.5, we can only require that of any new person, new development, new person coming in, we can only charge them 2.5. You know what I mean? So if we increase the level of service, then as additional people come in, that will fill the coffers with the impact fees that will allow us to make the improvements necessary.
Yeah, Mike is right on, because if our goal is 5.5, it may be that this current level is low on the estimate, but we already know how far behind the 8 ball we are, right? So we know what we need to do. And based on funds and the property that we currently own, which is very minimal, this is going to send us in the right direction. So when we get to that future, we'll be able to update this again with proper numbers within the next 5-10 years again, right? Then we can say, okay, where are we at? Do we need to increase land acquisition or what do we do from there? So this is the starting off point for the future. And even if it is a little low right now, it's getting us to where we need to be within 10 years and then reevaluate.
But really, we're not that far off if we connected the dots, because we may be able to even get a little creative with like the development that was here earlier or some of these other developments to say, hey, we'll allow you to do your thing, but you've got to pay, $2,000 per unit into the parks, and we're going to make those improvements to Jeannie Stevens or Harvest or whatever. Because if we add, what I calculated, I guess, was 24 acres to the 31, we're almost to the 5 level of service just by improving the parks we already own.
And that's today. If we were able to do it today, we'd be right on. But this is also projecting for the future, which we don't have the plans for. That's what Christine and I have worked together on. As future developments come in, how do we work with them on having that opportunity and space? Not every development also is going to make sense to put a park in. So getting the fees in lieu to develop, like I said, to develop somewhere else in our current park system is going to help also.
What's your opinion on the PUD that we had as far as encouraging them to essentially put in the parks and the trails from a private standpoint voluntarily as part of large projects?
You're talking specifically against to the one we just talked about?
Not that one. I'm just saying a PUD comes in like the one on the hill, it's 700 units, and it's got a 12-acre park and trails and all that. Would you rather see that? Because in my mind, like we're going to be able to we can get to all of this so much faster with that PUD or some mechanism like that than trying to make 14, or even if we increase it. Because I just figured it out, we'd have to add 20,000 homes in order to get $1,400 impact fee to pay $27 million.
Yeah.
And by the time we get that done, it'll be $100 million to improve 27 today.
But that wouldn't count towards the level of service, right?
It will if it's dedicated to the city, absolutely.
Yeah. And this is where the impact fees are often, you're just not able to cover it. Solely impact fees.
Yeah.
Right.
And many communities do rely on development agreement set asides for open space to accomplish a lot of their goals with park acquisition. The main issue that comes up with that strategy is it often accumulates a lot of small parks, but doesn't necessarily accumulate larger parks, which serve you with large field space or other regional type amenities. And so you kind of have to use a lot of different tools to get everything. There isn't one fits all strategy.
Yeah, but maybe Christine could answer it, with the few PUDs that are proposed or working on projects, we're talking significant acreage, aren't we?
There's 2 that have significant, 2 out of the 3. The other one has a lot of small, like the issue he was talking about there. Yeah.
But how many acres are in those couple? Just as an idea.
9 acres in one, and I don't know the exact acreage in the other one.
But anyway, I guess in my
and
mind.
Those are, so up to about 10 acres, like Jenny Stevens Park is considered a citywide park. We'd like to have a regional park, even bigger, 25 acres or so, somewhere on the southwest, west side of town as that grows out in the future, which has it in this plan, right? So the bigger the park, the more we're able to build community. The small pocket parks typically don't get used, and it just becomes a maintenance burden on city staff and the resources and budget that we do have. So we'd like to go to those bigger parks that we're able to use more effectively and still have the level of service needed to accommodate for the city and the residents.
So is the recommendation for this to just have it considered in the planning stages? Like, I guess what we're asking is to accept this master plan, right?
That is the potential recommendation.
As Sam mentioned, there are some clerical updates on some numbers that were not
contiguous.
Yeah, but still the overview and the concept and the whole plan in general is we're recommending to move forward as a recommendation to the city council.
Okay. Well,
What do you guys?
So are we asked to
Let's-
continue this to another week for the clerical errors, or are we asking to approve now?
Yeah, I'd like to give us another minute to review it in more depth. I mean, just my preliminary, like, review, I guess I'm not really clear on, you know, all of these, like, items that it has down here, the 60 whatever items. I guess in my mind, it would be ideal to have like, okay, we have $2 million in the account. What are we gonna do first and what's next? And you know what I mean? To increase the level of service, like specifically, you know what I mean? Where we're saying, okay, the next impact fees that come in, they're going here, this is what we're gonna do. Like actually a real plan, like rubber meets the road, not like itemized.
Right,
budget,
and
all
that's-
of these high level things.
Yeah, and that's where the difference between a parks master plan and the capital facilities plan typically diverge. So one is setting your policy and the goals you're working towards. The other is actually budgeting out what we're going to work on and when we're going to work on it. So
Sam, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can our general plan address the capital facilities that you mentioned too?
that is typically not done within the
Okay,
general plan effort.
that's what I thought.
But can't we, in this plan, direct the capital facilities in the way of, this is priority one, we want to improve this, we want, you know what I mean? Just so that they already know what we need to do to increase the level of service, you know what I mean?
How are you doing your financial planning now?
Yeah, I feel that that's a hard discussion to have with the city council and their priorities on what they want to fund in capital projects first, right? There's only a certain amount of dollars within that. We have to get their priority on, is parks a priority to them, right? So this is the overview of where does parks, trails, and open space fit in those priorities with the rest of the needs of the city. How can this meet those needs if they cross? And then it gives us direction as city staff on how to move to with us and the finance director on how to improve things going forward and setting those plans that you're talking about and those based on the priorities that are set within this. And then we recommend those capital improvements to the council saying, this is the plan for the parks, trails, and open space. Based on the priorities listed within that, we recommend we move forward with Stokes Park per se. It's going to cost this much. We get the approval to move forward to try to raise the funds to do that. So I believe it would be more of a case-by-case basis and project-by-project as we move forward rather than specifically putting it in this project, because this could be, not to say anything in the past, but it's been 25 years since we built the park, right? But that, we can't say that anyone's to blame, right? But the needs have been met up until the past 4 or 5 years. Now we're to the point where we have to have them, but the priority with the rest of the city, how do we put this into the council, as this is something you have to.
Yeah.
That's my fear moving forward with that, what you're recommending.
Well, my concern is that the city council doesn't have the whole wide view necessarily. They're looking at all these budgets and monies, you know, and my concern is like what's happened. I mean, if you look in the last 25 years, we haven't increased the level of service at all. But yet we spent millions of dollars buying trails that don't increase the level of service. We spent millions buying all of these parks and dirt for the future, and it didn't increase the level of service. Like, you know what I mean? Like in my mind, they need direction to say, hey, yeah, we should probably buy all this land bank dirt, but you're going to be way better served to get the level of service up sooner so we can get more money from the newcomers to support that higher level of service. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I'm worried that the priorities that are going to bring in more income are not being reviewed correctly from an expenditure standpoint.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I do. And within the last 2 years, we've had a lot of turnover within the city staff also, that we have also gotten a lot of more additional staff that gives us the skills and ability to tell that story to the council, especially with our finance director. She's able to see those needs and then express those in a way the council can understand. So I do believe that city itself and the council are headed on a upward trajectory, right? On how to make it happen that we haven't had in the past either until this past year.
Because ultimately, Micah, we're the legislative, just like approving this plan, but it's administrative that's deciding on the budget.
I know, and I know they are. What my worry is this plan is so massive. It's so like encumbered and like beautiful and expansive and has all these things, but like, I think we need like a 1-page, like, this is the vision, this is where we should spend the money first in order to get more revenue. And then we should go down here and down here, because the way you look at it, the way I read it, it's like, okay, well, priority is increase, spend $3 million at Schumann Park. That's not a priority in my mind at all. Like, that should be really close to the bottom because it doesn't increase the level of service. And we can't use impact fees, or at least for part of it.
Right.
So the vision, you know what I mean? Like, I would love to see, like, here's the whole detailed plan, but we have a 1-pager that this is really, when the rubber meets the road, this is what we recommend to you, city council, to do. You know what I mean? With these funds as they come in, I mean, they still have to decide, but I think the whole vision of the plan, in my mind, for this plan should be, this is based on everything. This is where you should spend the first $1 million, the second $1 million, third $1 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that they know, and then if they want to make adjustments, they totally can.
Yeah, and I've mentioned that there's the priorities in there, but we can make a quick.
You're talking about the priorities at the end? The action plans, you mean?
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, it might be those.
Because I read all these action plans, and I mean, there are a lot of great things, but none of them say, like, improve Harvest Acres Park so we can increase the level of service. I mean, they are all like really fancy, really high level, establish an annual budget that accurately and fairly accounts for maintenance and park upgrades. Well, that's fantastic, but it doesn't increase the, like, all the way down. I mean, none of them actually is where the rubber is going to meet the road.
And that's because this is a policy document, first and foremost. It's intended to be a long-range vision and plan.
And that gives me, as the staff that's over that, because if we build the park without a plan to maintain, it just puts us in a maintenance deficit from the beginning. So the priorities have to be there for us to do that. And so I think, like you're saying, a 1-page quick sheet on a little bit lower levels. These are going to give you the most bang for your buck right up front, and the things to focus on. Maybe a great addition in the appendix or something that we can add into that.
Yeah.
With the action plan, we tried to score things somewhat objectively. We had a scoring system that we were using to establish where those things fell. But I mean, sometimes objective systems don't work fully. And so I think if it's desired, Zach and I can sit down and we can reorganize some of those, that's easy.
Yeah, I think these are all great.
Well, I think the benefit of having that be administrative is that those are the administrative people are the experts that look at the money and look at all of that on a daily basis. Maybe not necessarily even within our city, but other experts and things that, as a planning commission, like, we can say what we want, right, and what we think would be the best thing, but our job is to just do the policy, right? And then the administrative part, they can figure out the rest of it.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be hard to add a priority summary of just like what you're talking about, that hit these things or focus on these things.
Based on prioritization of level of service.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Essentially, we as a city have acquired 24 acres. We spent millions, but we've increased the level of service 0. You know what I mean? They should have bought one park and improved it, and it would have brought in way more money to buy more parks. You know what I mean?
Again, Micah, you got to realize that all 3 of those parks are detention basins, so they have to be used for the detention basin. The park portion is kind of the afterthought on, let's do something nice for the residents, right? So we're trying to avoid that. We're trying to get into the future of let's do the quality of life stuff aside from the have-tos or just because of things.
Yeah, I agree.
We still have to do the public hearing.
Yep. So, that was a great presentation and discussion. Well done. Accept a motion to end the meeting and open the public hearing.
I make a motion to end the meeting and open the public hearing.
Been moved
Seconded.
Seconded, that we close the first staff presentation and meeting and open the public hearing. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, public hearing is open. All who would like to comment on the adoption of the parks, trails, and open space master plan. Yep. Welcome.
Maybe after you. Lane Welling. First question I have is, have you guys read this entire document? It's taken me 3 days to get through it. And I've come up with a lot of comments that I've given to the staff.
We saw.
Okay. A couple concerns that I have that I'd like to at least speak to. The first one is the projected growth of the community. If we use the numbers that they've put up there, which would be chart number 4, the growth, as I see it, is less than projected there is less than 3%. Based off of what I believe, I think we're going to be closer to the 5% in 50 when we get out to 2050, and we'll probably see close to 50,000 residents in this city. And so we need to probably, you say revisit this plan in 10 years. I would propose and suggest that maybe we revisit it in 5 years or less, especially given the explosive growth that I expect that we're going to see. If you go down to chart number 11, they talk about a RAP tax. Based off of what I see in the plan, it sounds like there were a lot of residents who were in favor of RAP tax. I don't know what it takes to get that enacted and started, but that would certainly be a source of revenue and income that would help for this process. In addition to that, as I recall, the last meeting, we rezoned a piece of property on the west side of the freeway that I believe was going to Parks and Recreation. I do not know how much that property will sell for, but I understand that property also proceeds are supposed to go to the Parks and Recreation Department. That might be able to facilitate expansion or quickly getting the parks that we've talked about going and up so that you can increase that, whatever it's called, level of service, okay, as a suggestion. Let's go down to page 34. These are some recommendations for the parks. Acquire land early. Again, I'm not sure how you're going to do that, given the amount of revenue that the city has and where we want to spend the revenue. But highlighted there, no, early acquire that. And then they also talk about update the codes for open space requirements. So there will be a code update. And my real question is, so do we have somebody who's watching for property come on sale that potentially we may want to buy it as a city for a park? So just, I don't know who's doing that. Let's go to page 64. This has to do with trails. There were several things in the trails section that I think probably should be added. Primarily one is the width of the trail. This is just the paved portion. It doesn't talk anything about the size of the easements on either side of the trail. It doesn't talk about landscaping. It doesn't talk about water. We're going to put lights along the trail for safety reasons. And that 3 minutes went in a hurry. I guess I'm done. But there are several other things.
Good points.
Pardon?
Good points.
But I think we need to take time to relook at it and look at it closely. If you've not looked at the document, please take time to read it and try to understand it. I would like to see answers to a lot of the things I've put in here, at least have a discussion. And having 3 days or a week to review it is not much time for a 230-page or whatever it is document. So thank you.
Jack Stickney. I think it's great that we have a plan. We do need a plan, and that's going to have to change as time goes on and as the city grows. We have a catch-22 situation, and I think Micah put his finger on it. We need to work on a way to get more impact fees going so that we can have those funds to put towards the Parks and Recreation. 50 years ago, when I left Spanish Fork, we had about the same population as we do here now. And they're just barely putting in a 35,000 square foot rec center with 6 pools and a whole bunch of other stuff. Over the last their population has doubled in the last 20 years, to 50,000 right now. So they, I think until we get a vision of growth, we can sustain growth and be able to have the funds coming in, it's going to be challenging to have the parks and recreation that we want to have. So we have to be open-minded to growth in order to have those funds coming in too. So I would just advocate, that as a planning commission, we keep that in mind, that some of these amenities will only come because of growth. And so we've got to have growth if we want to have that other part of it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further comments? Okay, seeing none, accept a motion to end the public hearing and open the consideration and decision.
I make a motion to end the public hearing and open the consideration and discussion.
It's been moved
I second it.
and seconded, then we close the public hearing and open the consideration and decision. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion passes.
I make a motion to table the rest of it until we can review it in more detail, review his comments and come back with some updates and modifications. And I'd love to see that one-page summary of what we really, where the rubber meets the road.
Okay, and move that we table this.
Mr. Chair,
Needs to be a continuance.
continue to a date certain.
Oh, yeah, that's
Whatever you.
Can we still table until a certain date? Because you have to bring it up
We'd have to
with the
renotice.
closed-end date.
Yeah, we would have to renotice for a subsequent public hearing.
If you table it, we have to renotice.
Which,
So we're just continuing.
would that be a bad thing?
Same thing.
Pick 2 meetings out, whatever you prefer.
Like, we have to notify the public,
1 meeting out, 2
right?
meetings out, whatever.
Which,
I would say we just do a continuance for
Yeah.
one more meeting.
I modify my motion to do a continuance to the next available meeting, but if nothing is on that agenda, go to the following meeting.
don't make
Don't make a
We
separate
don't
meeting.
have a meeting, just have
Continue
it.
until the end of July.
July 14th.
I second that motion.
okay, it's been moved and seconded that we continue this meeting. How do you say it? Or that we,
Continue the adoption of Parks and Trails and Open Space Master Plan until,
a continuance has been moved. I don't know how you state that.
So which date?
To,
July 7 is the next meeting?
No, 14th.
14th?
The 7th is city council.
to July 14th.
Yeah.
Been moved and seconded. Those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you for your time
thank you.
and your input. It is valuable.
And Sam, you don't have to come next time. You can just virtually. You don't have to
I'm really happy to be here with you all in person.
We
instead of up on the
appreciate it. We
screen.
appreciate it. Just don't feel like you have to come.
I would like to.
No, you do have to come. We want you to come.
That's a long drive, okay?
Okay, we got a long drive, a mile.
I would like to suggest that we potentially table the rest of,
You might be
not
on
table, we continue the rest of the items in the meeting until another time.
Is that a motion?
If that's a motion, yes, that we continue the rest of the items in the meeting. Is that possible or not
I think
possible?
they're shorter in nature.
Okay.
Most all of us have to turn in our ballots at the fairgrounds before 8 o'clock. So just throw that out there.
So unless we can get these done really quickly, which I don't know.
Well, whoever
The
has
next
to
one
go,
should
we
be-
can
the
bring Jack
first one
up
should be
to
fine.
fill in if we need.
Yeah. Is that doable? Alternate?
I can go right away.
Okay.
Alright. Item 4C is residential law regulations code text amendment. In trying to help our applicants follow clear guidelines for the subdivision process and using the entitlements that they have from the zoning they've been granted. We saw a few inconsistencies in between chapters and have an opportunity presented to feature a new addition to our code. First, the International Building Code does not regulate structures that are 200 square feet or less of their gross square footage, I believe. And so where those smaller structures, and in my mind, I think of tough sheds, chicken coops, lean-to, different types of structures they have to follow the accessory structure setbacks for the zone, which is across the board 5 feet. So those structures cannot get closer than 5 feet to the property boundaries currently under our code. Staff suggests the inclusion of a new definition and new regulations to our code to allow for small accessory structures. I will read the definition to you that staff has drafted. Building or structure, accessory, small, a detached structure 200 square feet or less in gross floor area. Permitted structures include, but not limited to, prefabricated storage sheds, chicken coops, and similar incidental accessory structures. Small accessory structures shall not be connected to permanent electrical, water, sewer, or other utility service. And the standards in the code would have them get, unfortunately, there's an error in how it's presented in the staff report in one area, but it's correct in another. Instead of reading for the different zones, R1 down to RM16, 10 feet, 3 feet, and 5 feet. Instead, we're proposing 3 feet for RR1 through R112, 2 feet for R110 through R18, and then 1 foot for RM8 and RM16, as close as those structures could get to the property boundaries. So that is the first change that staff is proposing tonight. The second change the staff is proposing is that there is a contradictory language in the code where it talks about the height regulations for all buildings and districts regulated by this chapter shall be 36 feet, and then just a few lines down it says accessory structures are capped at, I can't remember, 20 feet, something like that. So we just proposed the addition of one simple word, the maximum height for all main buildings, meaning homes and other main structures. Therefore, you have the difference between main structures and accessory structures and no conflict between the two. The third proposal, Mr. Chair, is related to the purpose statements of the multiple residential zones. I'll read the one for RM8. To provide areas for higher residential density with the opportunity for varied housing styles and character for single-family occupancy. Maximum density 8 units per acre for attached housing. That's from section 1.07.005F. G reflects the same thing, but for RM16. And so what you have is a purpose statement, but then down in the land use table, which is what staff uses when we receive an application, we look up the zone, we look up what their standards are. The way it's depicted currently is that single-family dwellings have a dash on the RM16 and RM8 zones, which means not permitted in our code. So we thought that was kind of contradictory, where you have a purpose.
Permitted in purpose, but it's not permitted in the table.
In the actual kind of rollout of the application. So we're proposing, instead of a dash for not permitted, that we add note 10 in series. This goes 1 through 9. That are present in the code. So note 10 would be a new note that says detached single-family dwellings are permitted within RM8 and RM16 developments. Single-family lots shall comply with the regulations of the R18 zone. So that is a simple way to achieve varied housing styles, because if we're talking about multiple family residential, then you have a new inclusion into the code for detached accessory dwelling units. Meaning you could have multiple families on one lot today in the single family area, where you could have a home and one internal accessory dwelling and or a detached accessory dwelling unit. So that could be 3 families on one lot today. It's just prohibited in this contradictory language, and we suggest a draft and have prepared a draft to edit the code. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I didn't get the staff report, did you guys? I didn't. The email didn't include the staff report for any of that.
Oh.
We never saw any of that.
Oh, yeah, I kept looking for it.
Then you should probably.
I tried to find it, but I couldn't, so I haven't seen any of that.
Oh, that was a clerical error on the staff's part. That would have been my fault.
I was so confused.
Get it on the screen.
I don't have it either. It wasn't included.
But I can show you where to find it. We can scroll through it.
So, sorry about that. That was an important one. That's why I thought this would be fast.
Text amendments. Swing down to residential lot regulations TA. Go to the word.
I really did
You
not
want
get
to
this
call
one
it
to you.
recess?
20
I can't
minutes.
find it either.
It's not gonna take me 20 minutes to get to the fairgrounds. I know
If you,
you-
if you gotta go, just go and let Jack fill in.
Oh, I will let him fill in the language.
So Reader's
This
Digest,
is the error right here where it says in the red text, 10, 3, and 5. It should be, I can show you what it actually looks like. At least we can go more.
it should be 3, 3, 3, 2, and
Close.
Is there any fire hazard for, if it says no permanent electricity? into
we
those
talked,
small
we
units?
talked to
There it is.
the fire chief on that, and he said that that was fine if there wasn't, because it's not designed to have them living in it.
Yeah.
And so if it was a structure fire that got fired, they would let it burn as long as they could. They don't have to get around it the same way they would with their dwelling. So we did run that by our fire chief.
The
Yes.
fire department is concerned about getting around accessory structures, and there's minimum fire separation for that. That's not a concern for tough sheds, where if a neighbor's house burns, then the fence burns, then the prefab shed burns, maybe we just call that a wash, right?
Makes sense.
Or what if it's like, the wind picks up and picks your pergola up and throws it in the neighbor's yard? Like,
Yeah.
It's not much about that in the
It's
code.
But it's permanent.
That doesn't have to
You'd be able
be
to get
fast.
air between there.
Does it still have to be 10
What about
feet
your
from the
translate?
neighboring shed or neighboring building?
That's the fire department regulates that.
Because my understanding was it was always like this. That's the way Steve always interpreted it historically.
Is
Was
what?
basically 3 feet if it's not if it didn't have a window, is the way he used to interpret it, because I built one. But they required if there was another shed closer to 10, then you had to be at least 10 feet from a neighboring
Oh,
shed.
Better to define it and have standards for it, and it outlets all this.
That's kind of what I think, because that was my understanding, was if it was closer than 10 feet to a neighboring structure, then it had to be fire rated.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a good note. I didn't see that, yeah.
But yeah, I like that. I mean, I'm totally for that, and maybe we just add another component.
probably 3 feet from my neighbor's yard.
Yeah, so I like that one. That's fine.
My chicken run is closer.
What's the
but
use
my
table?
coop
Is this the
actually
use table you were talking about?
farther
Yes.
And that's for the accessory units. And the next one is the height
Oh, it also
discrepancy.
contains the main building
Oh,
in
yeah.
context there, the red text.
Okay.
And then if you go up,
You're not talking about changing the heights, you're just clarifying. And were you think main or is it primary better?
My Stonehenge pergola.
I think either get the point across.
Should be fine.
That's all of the changes together, not in context.
So change number 1 is the small accessory structures.
It's not a change, it's just not reflected well.
Yeah.
I can change that before the city council.
And then 2 is the high requirements. Where's that one?
The name at the bottom.
Yep. And then what about the single family?
That's
That's right there in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
I make a motion to end the staff presentation of the public hearing.
I second that motion.
Moved and seconded that we end the staff presentation and open the public hearing. Those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Any comments on the public hearing?
Going once.
Okay. Seeing none, I will accept a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and open the consideration and decisions.
It's been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing and open the consideration and decision. Those in favor say yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it.
Okay, good.
I don't need
The
much.
whisper of the second.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm going. Those in favor say yes.
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 Okay. Motion passes.
I make a motion to send a positive recommendation to amend chapter 1.03005, 1.07010, and 1.07.015 to the city council as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we send a positive recommendation to the city council, amending chapters 1.03, 1.005, 1.07.010, and 1.07.015 as presented. Those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. 4D.
Mr. Chair, 4D is the planning commission code amendments. There is no language in the current code that defines when term limits for planning commission members expire. Staff has prepared a draft to define that rather than to leave that to any ambiguity, included language that makes it hopefully clear. Mr. Chair, I'll read that to you. 1.04.020. How do I put my finger up when it's new text? The terms of the appointed members of the Planning Commission shall be 2 years and shall expire in January of the second year following appointment and until their respective successors have been appointed, provided that terms shall be assigned and adjusted as necessary to maintain staggered appointments so that the terms of 2 members expire each year. Alternate members shall serve under the same term provisions and may serve in place of absent or disqualified members until a replacement is appointed by this title. And I'll stop there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Really quick, I just want to comment. I believe that the 3-year term actually makes more sense because the city council is a 2 and a 4-year term. So by having a 3-year term, you are ensuring that there's a check and balance, that you're not just getting a new person, new people put in with the new city councilors. So that would be my recommendation on that one. And also I wonder and don't know what the expectation would be going forward if we were to do this, because all of us would be at this time. And obviously it's only supposed to have 2 members expiring each term.
I'm not at that time yet. I'm at 1.
In January, you would be at 2.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying is.
With the opportunity to reapply.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, like, so I just think that that's something to bring up.
Okay.
So I do have to.
Is there a reason to go from 3 to 2? I mean, in my mind, we should go from 3 to 4, just because it's so hard to understand what's even going on. And even in 2 years, by the time we get here and go through a few meetings, it's like, it's really difficult to have some continuity and understanding if you're only here for 2 years and we swap new people all the time. It's hard enough at 3 or 8 for that matter to understand like and have a basic understanding. I mean, you know what it was like. How many were you on before? 4 times. Yeah. But so you have a lot more understanding. If you had only been here for 2 years, by the time you get here, have a basis. It's time for you to go, and then it's like, I think it's dumb.
Was it the city council that recommended the 2?
Yeah,
It was directed from the city council.
this is, this particular thing is directed from the city
And,
council.
and you said with the option to reapply.
Yes.
Basically, you could go into perpetuity if you just stayed and
Oh,
kept
so-
applying. It's not like they kick you out and I'm sorry, you can't do this anymore. It's like,
Okay.
we check it every 2 years. Do you want to do it? Please apply. Don't want to do it? We need to find a replacement. And then you're actually finding people more quickly, but it doesn't, like
Or we
you
have
said, you're
people,
just,
or we have people in waiting, especially, I mean, I think the alternate thing was a helpful thing
I
in
do
the,
like that actually.
in the thing, because then you're training people, and then the 2-year term makes more sense. If the trainings of the alternates kind of helps them get ready to handle the 2-year full.
Was there a question on the alternate section? I feel like.
We
that's-
didn't get a directive to do the alternate section. So we haven't touched that.
I feel like there was.
Is there something you'd like us to look at?
I don't know, I just remember there
How they're
being
appointed?
confusion a little bit in how they were, you know, how they participate. Yes, it was,
Some,
it
maybe
was
some
that
more
they can't, it
definition
was that they
on-
can't be voting, or they can't discuss, they can't, that was part of it. But I was gonna talk to Christie about this.
They can't discuss what we're discussing.
The only comments that they can be a part of is the public comment section or public hearing. And I was like, part of me thinks that should be included as a perk to being an alternate. So people step up and say, I want to be an alternate to have my voice heard a little. Yeah, they're not a voting member in that particular meeting,
But they have their
but they have the ability to speak to any motion.
Especially since they're gonna be part
Yeah.
of
So they're
conversations
part of the
most
commission,
likely.
just not voting members.
Yes, and it gives the feedback of what's going on with the alternates when they do step in to handle when those of us are absent. I think that's a good idea.
Well, and I think it should be also defined that the alternates should be the first opportunity to fill a vacancy.
That's a good point.
You know, in the event.
First will.
Yeah, because the whole purpose of this, the lowering the years and not having that, it just gives the council more opportunity to remove commissioners that don't think or vote in the way that they want them to vote. And it just has us not voting.
Our minds instead of our.
Yeah, we just start, the city
Maybe
council
political.
could potentially come in and just say, okay, hey, we're just gonna, you know, your 2 years is up, you know, so we don't like what you're voting, so we're gonna go ahead and change that, you know what I mean? I just think that it just sets you up for more problems, you know, where you could potentially adjust it. But I think it would be smart to have the folks that have been here and spent the time, and they know they're gonna be way better to put in a vacancy position than somebody coming from off the grid, you know?
Well, now that we've created the regional.
The NPI.
Yeah, the MPI, I think that they should also be potentially added to the list of alternates as they move up the line. Because they're starting to understand the process and they're starting to understand the people.
Level of commitment, the time.
Can I speak, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Something to take into consideration too is code is your basic outline, but something that the planning commission could have that we've never had before is a policy guide. And that can be created by you guys and kind of have your, bylaws, that's what I meant, bylaws. And so that you have your own set of bylaws that you guys can follow that don't necessarily need to be in code, but they're the way that you want to run the planning commission. So that's
You don't
something
need the
to
city
look forward to.
council to adopt it, you can adopt the.
Yeah, you can adopt your own set of bylaws.
Commonplace.
As far as this is concerned, the city council would have to.
Yes, this is ordinance,
So
this is
the
code,
word-
yeah.
Yeah, so the discussion about.
Yeah, but just moving forward as you're thinking as a planning commission, that's in the right direction.
That's good.
Yeah, I've seen a commonplace in other planning commissions, so.
So,
I motion to not recommend, what's the word? Because I think we'll need to fix this a little bit before we are ready.
We still need public hearing.
Oh, sorry. I recommend that we close the staff presentation and commission discussion and open the public hearing.
awesome. It's been moved. Is there a second? And seconded, that we close the staff presentation and open the public hearing. Those in favor say yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes. Public hearing. Any comments on the, okay, seeing none, accept the motion.
I will motion to close the public hearing and open the consideration and decision section of the Board of Deliberation, Motion and Vote.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded, that we close the public hearing and open the consideration and decision section. Those in favor say yes.
Yes?
Yes. Motion passes. Consideration and decision of.
I had AI look it up, just like all the other cities, what they're doing. It says many Utah cities use 4-year staggered terms for planning commissioners. For a city like Tremont, which deals with ongoing growth, rezoning, subdivision development planning, there is generally a stronger argument for 3-year or longer staggered terms because land use decisions often span multiple years and benefit from continuity.
I would agree with that.
That's just my opinion.
I think
I don't know what, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the city council can remove any of us at any time, really probably for any or no reason. So I don't understand why they would want to go through that whole interview process sooner rather than, I mean, if you can remove somebody, remove them. You know what I mean? Like,
It's a pretty hard thing to do, though. My son was on the planning commission in Hoover, and it was a struggle. I mean, they finally got rid of him, but I mean, it was a political battle within the city council, and it's messy.
I don't think it's that big a deal. Garland, they had an issue, they removed their whole council.
Be
When I was
easier-
dealing with
easier
this
thing to
project
do
over
than-
there. I'm just
Might be an
saying.
easier thing to do than trying to do one person, you know.
Because they kept the chair, but the rest of them.
So in discussion, are we asking for it to be 3 years, or are we,
You make a motion based on whatever your inclinations are, and then we
we
either,
decide?
we either adopt it or we reject it.
Or you could go in between approval with the changes or corrections that you want to make,
Yeah, you can amend,
or denial, or whatever.
yeah. And technically, I think we're supposed to actually bring it for a vote and then discuss it.
So
Well, we
as, should we do as is first?
What do you mean?
Like how it's written right now? I motion to vote, I move to vote whether we want to recommend this as is worded to the city council.
So you're moving to approve as.
Yes.
Send a positive recommendation.
Send a positive recommendation.
I'm moving to, yes. I'm wondering what the vote will be on that.
Okay, so it's been moved that we send a positive recommendation to the city council on the amended code as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second
That has been moved and seconded. Those in favor of sending a positive recommendation to the city council of the code amendments as presented, say yes.
No.
Yes.
We say yes first,
Well,
then you'll go and ask for those. right?
So he
right,
was
right.
yes.
And then those opposed,
No.
No.
So you're saying
So you're
we're
yes.
recommending the 2-year term.
this one is, yeah, recommending the 2 years
That was written.
as written. So 2 yeses,
Who's the
No.
other?
me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I'm still not sure all the names. So 2 and then all opposed?
No. Like I don't
No.
want to recommend this.
No.
And 3 noes. So the motion fails. So now the motion is open. You can move anything.
Right.
Because
So how
So-
we want to word it going forward, what we
You-
would recommend.
yeah, you can say the same thing with an amended version. If you wanted to, before that, you could have said, I move that we amend someone could have moved to amend that one, then we deal with the amendment, then we move with motion passing or failing.
And if you don't like any of it, denial is probably the
Yeah,
Option. I don't know how to reword it right now, personally.
Number of years.
because we did
Number of years and or do we want to put in the alternates?
alternate.
We can get a directive to add those things later too, if you want to do for the alternates things, and you can just deal with the number of years. Yeah.
Oh,
You know what I
that's a
mean?
good point too.
Okay, because I thought we'd have to do the alternates. Because I think my recommendation.
You don't have to as part of this,
Why-
but
why
we
do this
could,
instead?
if you wanted. You could add to in another subsequent paragraph, alternates. And we add a section and just say, this is what we want this code to say. We want it to remain the 3 years, and we want to add the section about alternates, which we would need to have. Pretty
What are
funny
we trying
type.
to add as alternates?
Just that they would get
Well, just
They're
so
still
it
gonna
doesn't.
have
they would be considered first.
Well,
for
they're
some of
going to
these
be
positions.
interviewed when they're set up as an alternate. So we've already gone through the interview process. The only reason why you bypass
So you're just saying the alternates would be ahead of any citizen
they would be
that
first.
files for.
Yeah.
Because they are trained.
They're already spent the time and they already know what they're
Okay,
doing.
I'm just trying to understand what were your
Yeah, the-
priority.
yeah, the only reason why you wouldn't do that is if you didn't want to approve in the beginning, or you were trying to put someone specifically that would vote a certain way that maybe the alternates didn't. And I don't like that. I mean, in my opinion, it should be, if they're voted as alternates, they should be, they're commission members, they should have already been vetted through the process.
But once again, what if a citizen that's been on the commission before, like me, for 5 years, and comes back, and wants to be on the commission again?
Then you should apply as an alternate, and then
Then
as
move
that
up.
process happens, yeah, because right now, you don't know anything. Jack's been here for a year or whatever, you're just brand new coming in. If you were an alternate, you would have been, then you kind of just have more continuity and more basis.
And that's not saying you don't know anything. That's saying,
I got what you're saying.
Have
I got what you're saying.
there's a,
Current experience.
just to be clear about that.
No, I agree.
So yeah, I guess my recommendation would be that we'd recommend 3-year terms.
So you move,
Aye.
can you go back to the verbiage on that?
I think the staggering appointments are fine. I thought that's what it always was.
I don't think it was clear, is all.
This is just codified.
I think it's fine that it says that it expires in January. I think that's fine.
But we just want to keep,
The 3 years instead of 2.
In your motion, did you want to adjust anything with the alternates?
I would like to add that the alternates are considered first for the positions, but
which
we
you could actually add a section 1 point, or what's the next section number?
1.04021.
Down below. Oh, that's a recommended motion, sorry. I was looking, I thought this was like, yeah. Sorry. Would we have to do like A or 1.04.021?
It could just be
The,
a
what
language
was
of
discussed
that.
before is either a subsequent amendment or it could be addressed in the creation of bylaws.
So that's what he's
Either
hoping,
one
so the
or something.
bylaws will take care of that. Okay.
That we can decide that instead of the code.
Yep.
Okay.
However, if it were codified, it would be a little
Yeah.
more
I don't
set in
hate
stone,
having it in the code.
so that if we had a change in city council.
Yeah.
Who had a desire to do something different, they would have to follow the code.
Yeah.
So,
So you can say, we'll edit this to the 3 years, keeping the rest of the added amendment there. And then insert section 1.04.021 dash alternate.
Alternate.
To direct staff to draft code regarding alternate members.
So,
What is your name?
Because we'll
Official
figure
name
out
is
that.
alternate.
But that's what I'm saying, we let us figure out the numbering and where to put it in code and stuff like that.
yeah, oh, for
That's
sure.
Yeah.
So in other words, we wrote this down for today and
No, you
The-
already voted
we
it
want to
down.
write it down. Yep.
So you want the 3 year
I like the 3
is
year.
what I'm hearing. So then we say, we want to, we make a motion to send a positive recommendation to the city council for shall be
Amended.
3 years and shall expire in January the 2nd year following the appointment. All the rest
Or
is
the 3rd
added.
year following the third.
And then just add one line that says alternates shall be considered for vacancies first.
So that middle one probably encapsulates what you're trying to do.
Okay, you want me to say it?
She kind of already said it,
My
didn't you?
brain is so shot right now.
Good practice.
Okay.
8 PM. This is good.
I move we recommend approval to the city council of the planning commission code text amendment, amending section 1.04.020 term of office to clarify the end of the term limits for planning commission members based on findings listed in the memorandum dated June 23rd, 2026 with the following additional corrections. 3-year terms instead of 2.
It's been moved.
And if they want to add the alternates.
And alternates will be,
Direct staff.
And direct staff
And
to
direct-
include alternates in the code.
what am I saying?
That's what we want.
Okay.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Did she say it?
Yes.
Alternates will direct staff.
I'll clarify.
Okay, thank you.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve, or that we recommend an approval to the city council of the planning commission Code text amendment, amending section 1.04.020. Term of office to clarify the end of term limits for planning commission members based on the findings listed in the memorandum dated June 23rd, 2026, with the following additional corrections. That we do 3-year terms instead of 2, and include
Direct staff.
direct staff to include a section regarding alternate delegates.
They be considered first.
That they be considered first. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed? The motion passes. Okay, point 5, public comments.
Who seconded it?
Very good, keep going.
Excellent. Seeing none.
I think she's been here this long, she has to. He's
You're
spoke. I mean, come
obligated.
on.
This one I'm listening, I don't have a lot of comment.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, great.
Okay, 6, business. Staff questions, staff.
We have one item, we have a few items, but we're gonna condense it to one.
Okay.
We are gonna be, staff is prepared to bring forth a first draft and outline of the PC zone overlay that will replace the PUD, but we need to know how you want us to present that in a discussion. The way the format is with our agenda, we can bring it and we can discuss it. We obviously don't want to come and bring it to you for a vote. We would like a discussion and of the draft form. Or do you want us to do like a workshop kind of before, and we could do like at 5:30 do the workshop, and it's or how do you want us to put it in your
A
agenda?
workshop being the unofficial and more down-to-earth time to really go through text before you're in a public meeting setting.
Yeah.
That could be like Christine is suggesting, either before the whatever time you agree on to start the public meeting, where everyone can come, of course, or choose perhaps a different day. We just wanted kind of to put some feelers out on that.
And we could even start planning commission like 5:45 or 6, and then or do you want it in the former public meeting setting?
Workshops are recorded, not televised.
No, they are recorded.
Recorded.
No,
Yes.
and
And
televised.
televised. okay.
Workshops they're the same.
Just keep them in the meeting, yeah.
Good as the public.
But in more informal by nature.
Well, I think it'd be ideal if you sent us the draft version that we
Yeah,
could at least
for sure.
review.
For sure.
And then I think it's fine to have it, do an hour before the meeting, start at 5 and we start the meeting at 6 or something like that.
I think that's a great idea.
That's what everybody else seems to do. The county does that.
Okay. Sounds good.
They can change the time of the.
I don't need a motion, that's fantastic.
I know what you're doing.
I motion
No.
to adjourn
Well,
the
you
meeting.
can notice
I
that wherever you
move
want.
to adjourn the meeting.
But I don't know, I guess.
Been
it
moved.
Well, I guess, hold on, he was just questioning
Oh, is there
whether,
a second?
whether it had to stay at
There's no
5:30
second.
or
I
not.
mean, you have to stay at 5:30.
It does, because it's already been posted.
Because no, so then let's just do it at 4:30.
A whole hour?
July
I don't
14th.
think we need a whole hour.
Okay,
Have
well,
you
whatever
met us?
amount of time we need, I guess, do it before that.
You hope we don't do that.
You hope we all show up on time. Okay.
Let's just do,
Well,
if we only need a half, then just
If
do
it's
5.
informal, I'll send you out the text amendments, and then can you guys tell me how much time you guys think you want to discuss it?
Yeah.
that's fine.
Will that be okay?
Yeah, we may be able to just review it and say,
And just let's start at the.
start at the regular time, because I think if we get it in advance, it gives us plenty of time. I mean, the weekend before or something like you've been doing.
I'll try to get to you, at
The
least
week-
email
the
it to you,
weekend.
but not miss it. I don't know what happened on that, sorry. So, yeah, no, we'll get it to you before.
What does PC mean?
Planned community zone.
Planned community.
It's like a master plan community
So
zone.
instead of underlying zoning with an overlay, it's a zone. It's a rezone, but it brings a lot of the elements of the PUD overlay. So I
Yeah.
think you'll see a lot of.
I think you'll like it.
Just a reframing, and it's entirely legislative. Anyway, we'll get to it. Pitch it to you at another day. That's the elevator pitch.
Okay?
I
Sounds good.
motion to adjourn.
It's been moved, and we adjourn.
Okay,
Is there a second?
thanks.
Who did a second? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes.
We've never had a gavel.
I just wanted to do it for adjourning. Goodness, we're done.
Yeah, they bought that for you. I never had one.
Yeah, I need to stop wishing these meetings are short, because the more I wish it, the longer they go.